Chapter 662. No one knew what the deliverer-man saw. According to the rumors, the deliverer-man was so scared that he fell down the stairs and lost consciousness. Fortunately, there were a few uncles and aunties chatting downstairs. They sent him to the hospital immediately. When the police questioned him at the hospital, the deliverer-man voiced his doubts. That day, the police went to the house and knocked on the door. No one answered. Then the police broke into the house. The house was dark and empty. The floor was covered in dust. It was obvious that no one had lived there for a long time. But there was one strange thing that puzzled the police. On the floor, there were more than a dozen open takeout packages. Surprisingly, the food was still there, but it was moldy and infested with maggots. The old man had said that the leftovers of filthy things would become moldy and infested with maggots. After that, there was a rumor that there was a starving ghost in the house who complained of hunger in the middle of the night. The takeout company also announced that they would not be doing business in the building. The news was actually refuting the rumor. It said that someone had purposely ordered takeout to scare the deliverer-man. However, several of Wang Zhong's classmates who lived nearby said that this wasn't a prank at all. Currently, the house was locked up with steel chains, and the outside was sealed with cement. Class monitor, which high school are you applying to? Ma Feifei asked curiously. Her question pulled Wang Zhong back from his thoughts. I'm applying to the city's experimental high school. It's mainly because it's closer to home. My grandfather is not in good health. It's inconvenient to take care of him if it's too far away from home, Wang Zhong explained. I see. His classmates knew that Wang Zhong's parents had passed away. Now he and his grandfather depended on each other. That's good. I'm also applying to the experimental high school. Ma Feifei laughed. Ma Feifei's results were also good. She was a committee member in charge of studies. Her classmates and teachers liked her appearance and personality. I remember the last time we talked. You said you were going to Beijing? Wang Zhong was surprised. Ma Feifei blushed and said, That's what I thought in the past. Okay, then let's work hard together. We might even have the chance to be in the same class. After that, Wang Zhong continued reading his book. Ma Feifei originally wanted to chat a little more, but seeing that Wang Zhong was not interested in chatting, she could only keep quiet. They were about to graduate. Although they had a lot of work to do, their classmates would go out in groups of 3 or 5 to take photos. After all, they would be separated from each other in the future, and the classmates who were close to each other would be reluctant to part with them. Those who had a crush on each other would find an excuse to take a photo together, so that they wouldn't have any regrets in the future. When the time came, he would paste it in his photo album. When he was older, he would smile knowingly. It turned out that he had also had a good time. Class rep, let's go take a photo together later. You're so amazing. You might become a celebrity in the future. We should bask in your glory in advance. There were only a few days left before the exams. On this day after school, a few boys and girls asked Wang Zhong out. Wang Zhong didn't want to be a wet blanket, so he nodded. All right, let's go. Okay, let's go, Sister Feifei. You asked me to ask the class monitor out for a photo, and I said it. The girl who asked Wang Zhong out smiled. Ma Feifei blushed. No, I saw that the class monitor was bored alone, so I wanted to go together. Wang Zhong could tell that Ma Feifei was interested in him. For a moment he was speechless. He had never taken the initiative to pursue her, but he didn't expect her to like him. You guys go take a photo. I'm going too. At this moment, Li Su came over to join in the fun. He stood beside Ma Feifei and smiled brightly at Wang Zhong. Class rep, let's go together. Okay. Of course, Wang Zhong understood Li Su's feelings. He liked Ma Feifei, so when he saw her going out for a photo shoot, he naturally wanted to follow. The group left the school and walked toward the town. The photo shoot wasn't expensive. 20 to 30 yuan could get dozens of photos. The machine was very easy to operate. It was a machine surrounded by a curtain, and a few people would go in to take photos. There were many scenes and props to choose from in the machine. For example, there were cartoon hats for you to wear, and cartoon characters to take photos with you. A few minutes after the photo was taken, the image would appear from the machine. It wasn't a photo, but something like a sticker. This kind of thing was very popular around the school. It was popular among the students, especially those who used to be non-mainstream. After the photo was taken, to everyone's surprise, Li Su took the initiative to pay. It was 100 yuan. Vice class rep is so generous. The students flattered him. Everyone knew that the vice class rep came from a rich family. Don't mention it. It's rare for everyone to come out. Right, let's have a cup of milk tea, Li Su suggested. Okay. Milk tea was one of the most popular drinks among the students, especially the female students. Li Su gave everyone a cup, and they went back after shopping for a while. Feifei, do you want me to give you a ride? Li Su asked Ma Feifei before they left. Ma Feifei looked in the direction Wang Zhong was going and smiled. I'm going the same way as the class rep. You're not going the same way as me. Okay then. Slow down. Okay, bye. The students went their separate ways. Wang Zhong walked a few steps, and did not expect Ma Feifei to catch up to him. Class rep, why are you walking so fast? It's getting dark. Wang Zhong smiled. I remember your parents used to come pick you up. Why aren't they here today? Aren't you riding a bike? You can give me a ride. Okay then. Wang Zhong did not think much of it. He was indeed going the same way as Ma Feifei. Class rep, since you're going the same way as me, why don't you give me a ride home? I can treat you to lunch, Ma Feifei suggested. Mainly because my mom has been working overtime. Okay then, but you don't have to treat me every day. You can treat me tomorrow. Okay. Ma Feifei was very happy when she heard Wang Zhong agree. Soon it was time for the college entrance exam. Wang Zhong filled in the experimental high school application. He was in good condition during the exam. He felt that he could pass. This was his confidence. While waiting for the graduation notice at home, Wang Zhong started to check what could make him stronger. First, he checked the things at home. He looked for bottles, jars, and all kinds of furniture, but he found nothing. What exactly is it that can make me stronger? Wang Zhong was a little distressed. In addition, according to the hints, his grandfather would tell him a secret before he died. Looking at his lively grandfather, Wang Zhong muttered, "When will he die?" Of course, this was just Wang Zhong's imagination. In addition to looking for clues, Wang Zhong also helped his grandfather with farm work during the summer vacation. Although he had always had asthma, it was fine to do some simple work. In addition, he was now older and his body had developed. His physique was much better than when he was young, so it was fine to work. Now the land that his grandfather contracted was only half the size of when his parents were still alive. Even so, the grandfather and grandson were very busy during the busy season. Great. My daughter has been admitted to the experimental high school. On this day, Wang Zhong and Elder Chen were working in the field when they heard Zhou Long's wife shouting excitedly on the street. Zhou Long's daughter was called Zhou Miaoyu, and she was the same age as Wang Zhong. However, because the family lived at the front of the village, and the family lived at the back of the village, the two didn't have much interaction. However, Wang Zhong had heard of this child. She was a little straight-A student. Furthermore, Zhou Long's family was a bit rich, so they had set up mini tuition classes for Zhou Miaoyu. Zhou Miaoyu was either studying or on the road to study, so she wasn't very familiar with Wang Zhong. Wow, congratulations. The villagers all congratulated Zhou Long's wife. Haha, my son is also going to the city to attend high school. The notice is here. That afternoon, the notices of many students in the village were delivered. Why hasn't your notice been delivered yet? Elder Chen asked with a frown. I'm not sure. I'll check online. Originally, Wang Zhong wasn't worried at all. With his strength, it would be a piece of cake for him to attend the experimental high school. However, as time passed, Wang Zhong became anxious. There was no internet at home, so he could only go to the small internet cafe in town to check his score. He turned on the computer and entered his admission number. Looking at it, Wang Zhong was stunned. Not accepted. How is this possible? Ignoring the large crowd in the internet cafe, Wang Zhong cried out involuntarily. With his results, he would definitely be the city's top scorer. However, it actually showed that he wasn't accepted. Immediately, Wang Zhong called his homeroom teacher. Chen Anlin, calm down. Maybe you didn't perform well this time. The homeroom teacher comforted him. That's not possible. I clearly performed very well. Teacher, can I check the test paper? You can't. The test paper won't be given out after the exam. I understand. Wang Zhong hung up the phone. His mind immediately reacted to a very serious matter. The test paper had been changed. Wang Zhong had heard of this many times before. In ancient times, this was a crime punishable by death. However, in modern times, if one didn't have the ability, they wouldn't be able to find any clues. After returning home, he told his grandfather about his guess. His grandfather immediately called the police. Unfortunately, a month had passed and they couldn't find anything. Finally, it was time for school to start. Seeing that the children in the same village had gone to school, Wang Zhong could only accompany his grandfather to work in the fields. This is Chen Anlin. He used to have good grades. I didn't expect him to fail high school. The villagers were now pointing at Wang Zhong's back when they saw him. Of course, they didn't have any bad intentions. They just felt that Wang Zhong was quite pitiful. Originally, Wang Zhong wanted to repeat his studies. However, repeating studies required money, and his family didn't have much money. Forget it. At most, I won't rely on school. I'll rely on other things to make money in the future. Wang Zhong had a good plan. He had two plans. First, he was now mainly planting fruits. When the fruits were ripe, there would be many buyers coming to buy them. However, Wang Zhong wasn't going to sell them. He opened a small shop on the internet. It specialized in selling fruits and melons that he planted. This way, the price would be high and the buyers wouldn't maliciously lower the price. At the same time, the export volume was also very high. Second, he wanted to be a star. Chapter 663. After thinking about it, Wang Zhong felt that it was not a good idea to be a celebrity in this life. It was simple. He had a grandfather to take care of, and a lot of land at home. He could not ignore all these and go out on his own. Most importantly, he did not want to be a public figure who would be followed by others. After all, his mission in this life was to become stronger and survive. Hence, Wang Zhong chose the first option, which was to open an online shop and do business. Online shops in this world were still in their infancy. The people were still ignorant about the products online. However, Wang Zhong knew that according to human psychology, online transactions would surpass offline transactions. Now he was entering the market early. Old Master Chen didn't know what Wang Zhong was doing, but after the local vegetables and melons ripened, Old Master Chen was very happy when he sent them out via express delivery. Wang Zhong was now using a low-price strategy. He packaged them and sent them out by express delivery. A year had passed. Wang Zhong's online shop was very popular. It even brought benefits to the villagers. Because his online shop had a large volume, he bought fruits from the villagers when he did not have enough in his own field. This year, Wang Zhong did some calculations and found that he had earned over 200,000. In the second year, Wang Zhong expanded his business. He contracted out the land to the villagers and was only responsible for purchasing. Other than ordinary fruits, he also started a snack business. He opened a second snack shop, a supplementary food shop. Because there was less competition at this time, his business was very popular. Wang Zhong's two shops reached the crown level and became one of the top customers on the shopping website. Wang Zhong calculated that he had earned at least 500,000 yuan in this year. At the end of the year, his former junior high school classmates suggested a gathering. Wang Zhong also went. His former classmates still had a student look on their faces. They were very immature. This was because they were still in the ivory tower and did not know much about the world. Most of the time they talked about fun. On the other hand, Wang Zhong had become much more mature and steady. That was because he had already entered society and had experienced the mutual deception of the business world, as well as the human heart. Ma Feifei, Li Su, and the others were also there. Over the years, Wang Zhong would occasionally chat with these two on the phone. The two were in the same class. It was obvious that Li Jiu still had feelings for Ma Feifei, but Ma Feifei did not mind him. Instead, she often chatted with Wang Zhong on her phone. "OL class rep, your business is doing well. I checked your online store last time, and you're often in the top 10 of sales. While eating, a female classmate teased. As expected of the old class monitor. You succeed in everything you do. That's right, that's right. Brother Chen, here's a toast to you. I hope your business will continue to grow. Li Jiu smiled at Wang Zhong. Yes, everyone should also study hard. Don't be like me, who actually failed. Speaking of this, Wang Zhong felt helpless. Although he was living a good life now, having his results taken away by someone else still made him unhappy. Therefore, he decided that when he made a lot of money and accumulated connections, he would find out the truth. After eating and drinking to their heart's content, Wang Zhong took the initiative to bring Ma Feifei to a hotel. After all, he was not young anymore. Since he was going to marry in the future, of course, he would marry someone who liked him. Besides, Ma Feifei had a good personality. After interacting with her for a while, Wang Zhong also liked her. Ma Feifei was also very proactive. After they finished, she said that she planned to help Wang Zhong after she finished university. Okay, we'll get married then. Wang Zhong could not help but hug Ma Feifei tightly. What they did not know was that downstairs, someone was quietly watching the hotel. Half an hour later, the hotel suddenly burst into flames. A fire! Everyone put out the fire! The facilities in the hotel in town were not good. All the fire extinguishers had failed. More importantly, no one called the police. It was passers-by who noticed that something was wrong. Fire, cough, cough, cough. Wang Zhong and Ma Feifei were originally resting. They did not expect to be awakened by the smoke. Cough, cough. Ma Feifei opened the door while coughing. The corridor of the hotel was full of smoke. Wang Zhong's expression was ugly. Go to the toilet first and get some wet towels. Okay. Ma Feifei nodded and closed the door. The smoke came in through the gap. Wang Zhong immediately opened the windows of the hotel to vent the smoke. Ma Feifei rushed out of the toilet with a wet towel and handed one to Wang Zhong. What do we do now? Calm down first. Wang Zhong looked down from the window. They were on the 6th floor. Not only that, the windows were locked with anti-theft windows. They could only open the windows. The anti-theft windows could not be opened at all. In other words, there was no hope of escaping through the windows. Looking at the floor, it was all wooden floors. The corridor outside was covered with thick carpets. If the fire came, it would be too late to escape. Save me, Ma Feifei shouted downstairs. A lot of people had gathered downstairs, but they were just pointing upstairs. No one knew why. Let's soak the sheets and rush out. Wang Zhong thought of this idea again. He quickly rushed into the toilet to get water. But it was too late. The flames had already rushed in. The fire was too fast. The carpet outside the door was the best burning material. The high temperature burned the entire carpet and burned through the door in the blink of an eye. Thick smoke filled the whole room. Wang Zhong went to get water for a while. When he came out, he found Ma Feifei lying on the ground. Feifei! Wang Zhong shot forward like an arrow. However, the flames instantly pierced through his body. Wang Zhong was caught off guard, and his entire right arm was scalded. Enduring the pain, Wang Zhong helped Ma Feifei up. Feifei, class monitor. Ma Feifei opened her eyes weakly and suddenly smiled. I didn't expect to encounter such a thing when we just got together. Wang Zhong was confused for a moment. He suddenly realized that this was his end. Both he and Ma Feifei were going to be burned to death here. I'm sorry. Wang Zhong hugged Ma Feifei tightly. I didn't protect you well. Actually, I'm also very happy to die in your arms. Ma Feifei's hand withered like petals and fell. Boom, a huge flame enveloped the room. Vaguely, Wang Zhong could hear the people downstairs shouting. It's so strange. Why is the fire burning the front and back doors? The hotel owner and lady boss seem to be dead, so no one is putting out the fire. There's the smell of gasoline. Someone deliberately set the fire. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Wang Zhong suddenly opened his eyes. Game failed. 8,000 experience points are lost. Someone deliberately set the fire. Wang Zhong frowned. He felt very unlucky. He guessed that the hotel owner had offended someone, and he and Ma Feifei happened to be staying there that day. Don't worry, I still have a chance. Wang Zhong murmured. Although he had lost a lot of experience points, Wang Zhong was rich now. The experience points were not worth mentioning. In this life I'll bring Feifei home. Wang Zhong made up his mind and continued to enter the game. Just like in his previous life, his parents died early. After that, Wang Zhong started to seek good luck and avoid bad luck. Step by step, he went from primary school to junior high. When he saw Ma Feifei again, Wang Zhong was not surprised, nor did he rush over excitedly. This was because he did not want to show off too much. Besides, he could not be with Ma Feifei too early, lest Ma Feifei fall in love early and affect her studies. In this life, Wang Zhong started to set up an online shop in advance. In the first year of junior high, he opened an online shop for free. Because he did not manage it well, the business was sloppy. But in a year, he could still earn about 100,000. The problem of money was solved. However, during the middle school exams, Wang Zhong was in trouble. According to history, he would be replaced by someone else in the exams. Although he could do well in the future, even if he did not go to university, Wang Zhong hated swapping other people's exam papers. Forget it, I'll let you swap my exam papers. When I become successful, it will be the time to ruin your reputation. Wang Zhong made up his mind. After the exams, as expected, he did not receive an admission letter. Wang Zhong did not take it to heart. On one hand, he was running his online shop. On the other hand, he asked Ma Feifei to come to his house. During the summer break, they could date and help him run the shop. This time, due to the early start of the online shop, Wang Zhong's house was now the most luxurious in the village. He even bought a black car. The village boy in the past was now boss Chen CEO Chen. Originally, many villagers wanted to propose marriage for Wang Zhong. Even the former richest man in the village, Zhou Long, came to look for Wang Zhong. He said that his daughter, Zhou Miaoyu, was not good at math and did not understand some things. If he was free, he would like to teach her personally. He even said that they were young people. They would definitely get along well. In Wang Zhong's eyes, they would not get along well. You're just lusting after my body. Of course, he could not say these words. He could not refuse either. After all, they were from the same village. When they were young, Zhou Long was good to his family. He knew that his family was in trouble, and took the initiative to say that he did not need to return the money. Wang Zhong remembered this kindness in his heart. Unfortunately, Zhou Long found out that Wang Zhong had a girlfriend. This disappointed him greatly. Later on, when they talked about his daughter, he said that he hired a math teacher for her, and she did not come to study. Zhou Miaoyu would come over sometimes. However, it was not because she was interested in Wang Zhong. She wanted to learn from Wang Zhong and open an online shop. This girl was quite ambitious. She did not become arrogant and rude because of Zhou Long's wealth. Instead, she wanted to earn money with her own efforts. Thus, Wang Zhong asked her to learn from Ma Feifei. It was summer break, and they were the same age, so they got along well and became good sisters. Looks like Uncle Zhou wants to introduce his daughter to you. At night, Ma Feifei snuggled into Wang Zhong's arms and smiled. Today was the last day of summer break. Ma Feifei was about to go to school. On the last day before she left, Ma Feifei gave herself to Wang Zhong. Wang Zhong stroked her soft, white skin. This girl is quite good. Do you think I should take her? What are you talking about? You already have me. Ma Feifei humphed and pinched Wang Zhong in dissatisfaction. Oh, I'm just kidding. Wang Zhong chuckled. Be careful or I'll ignore you. All right. I surrender. Just as she finished speaking, a huge fire suddenly burst into flames outside. It's on fire. Chapter 664. Boom! The soaring flames lit up half of the sky in an instant. It couldn't have been an accident. There had to be something flammable, such as gasoline. Looking at the raging flames outside, Wang Zhong thought back to his past life. He suddenly came to a realization. In his past life, it wasn't the hotel owner who was trying to harm him. Instead, it was him and Ma Feifei. It was precisely because of them that the hotel was set on fire. But who was the culprit? Fortunately, he was in his own home this time. Even though the windows were burglar-proof, Wang Zhong had the key. There was no time to think. Wang Zhong pushed open the window on the second floor. Grandpa, Grandpa. No one replied. Under the illumination of the flames, there was no one around. Cough, cough, cough. What's going on? Ma Feifei coughed. The fire was too big, and the smoke made it difficult for her to even open her eyes. Someone set the fire on purpose. Wang Zhong immediately found a blanket and draped it over Ma Feifei. This is the second floor. Jump down. The second floor was only about 4 meters from the ground, so it wasn't very high. Ma Feifei nodded. Okay. Wang Zhong tossed the blanket down. You jump down first, quick. The blanket wasn't very big, so it was impossible for them to jump on it at the same time. Thus, Wang Zhong told Ma Feifei to jump first. You hurry up too. Ma Feifei kissed Wang Zhong before jumping down with all her might. Ma Feifei had clearly sprained her ankle, and she grimaced in pain. Are you all right? I'm fine. Ma Feifei didn't want Wang Zhong to worry, so she tried her best not to cry. However, Ma Feifei suddenly discovered that something was wrong. Gasoline. Why is there gasoline all over the ground? Wang Zhong could also smell the strong odor of gasoline where Ma Feifei was standing. Crap, run. Wang Zhong immediately understood. The person who wanted to harm him had sprayed gasoline all around his house to prevent him from escaping. Feifei, Wang Zhong yelled, but it was too late. Ma Feifei's entire body was engulfed in flames. Ma Feifei screamed. Because of the injury on her leg, she could only tremble and spin in circles. Finally, the flames engulfed her whole body. Plop. Ma Feifei fell to the ground and did not move. At this moment, Wang Zhong's eyes were red. He had no time to be sad. He covered himself in the blanket and kicked open the door. There was a raging fire outside, but that didn't mean it was a dead end. In order to make the house look good, Wang Zhong did not choose wooden flooring. Instead, he chose marble walls and ceramic tiles, which were not flammable. If it wasn't for the gasoline that had been spilled on the ground, there wouldn't have been such a big fire. Wang Zhong aimed at a place where the fire wasn't too big and rushed over. Hot, too hot. Even though his body was wrapped in a thick blanket, Wang Zhong felt that his skin was being roasted by the flames. This feeling almost made him faint. Fortunately, his amazing willpower allowed him to rush out of the encirclement of the flames. He jumped down the stairs and came to the first floor. The first floor was also surrounded by flames. The house was filled with the smell of gasoline. Wang Zhong retreated to the kitchen. Because the kitchen was airtight, the person who killed him didn't pour gasoline here, so the flames were smaller. As soon as he entered, Wang Zhong was stunned. His grandfather's body was lying in a pool of blood. There was a knife in his back. Grandpa! Wang Zhong's heart ached. He helped his grandfather up and shouted, Grandpa! The body was cold. Old Master Chen didn't make any sound. Boom! At this moment, the flames showed signs of rushing into the kitchen. Wang Zhong knew that he couldn't wait any longer. He picked up the bucket in the kitchen and poured water on his head. Then, he rushed out with the bucket. The water was thrown at the door. The flames instantly melted the bucket. The water inside scattered, making the flames in front of him much smaller. Then, Wang Zhong jumped out. Plop. Wang Zhong fell to the ground. He could vaguely see many villagers rushing over. There was also a fire truck. Everyone put out the fire. Quick, quick. Who is this? She's burned like this. The villagers came to Ma Feifei's body. Ma Feifei had been burned into a paste. It was too horrible to look at. Wang Zhong didn't have it easy either. His hair and eyebrows were all burned. His neck and hands were severely burned. Chen Anlin, are you okay? Zhou Long came with a group of young men. Where's your grandfather? He was killed. Wang Zhong coughed a few times. He had no strength left and fainted. When he woke up and opened his eyes, he saw a white ceiling. He heard the sound of English words being muttered in his ears. He turned his head. Sitting beside him was Zhou Long's obedient daughter, Zhou Miaoyu. Zhou Miaoyu, who was studying diligently, noticed that Wang Zhong was awake. Her eyes widened in surprise. You're awake. I'll call the doctor for you. Thank you. Wang Zhong felt his throat hurt so much that he couldn't speak. This was a symptom of inhaling smoke. In severe cases, the throat would be burned. Soon, the doctor and nurses came in. After giving Wang Zhong a simple checkup, they continued with the 4-drip. How long have I been unconscious? After the doctor left, Wang Zhong looked at Zhou Miaoyu weakly and asked. It's been a night. There's no one at home, so I came to take care of you. Zhou Miaoyu sighed. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm also helping you. I'm your employee. It's my duty. It's just a pity for Sister Feifei. Wang Zhong also thought of Zhou Miaoyu's tragic death. His heart felt like it was being stabbed by a knife. How's the police investigation? I heard from my dad that someone set the house on fire. The door to your house was pried open. Your grandfather should have been packing up in the kitchen at the time. The police saw a dishwashing cloth in his hands. After that, he was suddenly stabbed in the back and fell down silently. After that, your house was splashed with gasoline. Don't worry now. The police are investigating. Also, you're lucky. Only your respiratory tract is burned and your arms and neck are slightly scalded. I got it, Wang Zhong said as he tried to move his legs. Okay, rest well. I'll go to school in a few days. I can send you food in the next few days. Anyway, this place is not far from my house in the city. Thank you. By the way, can you help me manage my online shop? Don't worry. I'll use my phone to manage it for you in the next few days. The villagers all know about you. They said to give you the goods first, and talk about the money later. Okay, I got it. Wang Zhong coughed a few more times and rested. Because his injuries were not serious. Wang Zhong was discharged from the hospital after 3 days of 4-drip, and 2 days of oxygen. Looking at his devastated home, Wang Zhong started to ponder. Who was it that wanted to harm him? There was also a fire in his previous life. It was the same in this life. This could not be a coincidence. Who did he offend? Or did Ma Feifei offend someone? When he reached home, Wang Zhong wrote down a list of all the people around him on a piece of paper and started to eliminate them. First, it was a group of people who had financial interests with him. For example, people who had borrowed money from him or lent money to others. Those who had borrowed money from him had been repaid after he started to earn money. Others had lent him money in small amounts. It was only a few tens of thousands. But he had never pressed them for money. It was impossible for them to kill him for borrowing money. After eliminating this group of people, Wang Zhong started to have a crush on him. He had thought about the possibility that someone might have seen him and Ma Feifei together and set the fire on purpose. This was not impossible. After all, Wang Zhong knew his charm very well. Sometimes it was irresistible. A few girls in the village had thrown flirtatious glances at him. For example, the village chief's daughter He Qianqian. She looked average but had a hot body. She used to wear hot pants to borrow soy sauce from him. At that time, Wang Zhong could not understand why she liked to take advantage of his soy sauce when they lived a kilometer apart. Now that he thought about it, this was charm. There was also a mason's daughter named Sun Dong. Her name was Sun Lu. Although her family was average, Sun Lu was a top student. After graduation, she started a cosmetics trading company. Knowing that his online shop was doing well, Sun Lu often asked him out for coffee after he became CEO Chen. She said that she wanted to talk about life. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell that Sun Lu had feelings for him. However, she was too materialistic. Wang Zhong rejected her. He did not want to give such a person any chance to pursue him. Other than these, a few girls had also hinted at him. However, after thinking for a long time, Wang Zhong felt that these girls would not hate him because of love. Could it be that someone liked Ma Feifei? There were many people who liked Ma Feifei among his classmates. There were 3 boys in his class. The most obvious one was Li Su. But it was impossible for Li Su. He recalled the bits and pieces between him and Li Su. Li Su called him brother and brought him lunch from time to time. If he was the culprit, then this person was too scary. As there were no clues, this case was not easy to investigate. After that, Wang Zhong increased his protection and installed cameras around the house. 7 days later, Wang Zhong attended Ma Feifei's funeral. Ma Feifei's family was very sad. When they saw Wang Zhong coming over, they grabbed Wang Zhong's collar in pain. Who burned my daughter to death? My poor daughter! Ma Feifei's mother cried and fainted. Chen Anlin, I know that you were friends with my daughter. Now that she's dead, I don't ask you to do anything, but you must find my daughter's murderer. Ma Feifei's father held Wang Zhong's hand tightly and said, Don't worry, uncle. I will find the murderer. Thank you. Ma Feifei's father smiled bitterly. After leaving the place, Wang Zhong hired a private investigator to track down the people on his list of suspects. However, he did not expect that 1 month later, his online store would be maliciously criticized by people who bought his products and returned them. They were also maliciously reported for violating the product quality. This caused Wang Zhong to turn pale with fright, causing his online shop's statistics to fall by a lot. Someone is messing with me. Looking at his store's plummeting business, Wang Zhong frowned. Fortunately, the online store had a protection mechanism. Realizing that someone was deliberately spreading bad reviews, the staff blocked all the malicious accounts. Chapter 665. Although those malicious accounts had been banned, they had lost a lot of business, especially the fruits that were maliciously returned. Because of 2 deliveries, the fruits were all rotten on the road, causing Wang Zhong to lose a lot. 3 months later, the shop's traffic gradually picked up. The detective did not have any useful clues. The person who wanted to mess with Wang Zhong in the dark might have realized that he could not do anything to him. In the end, there was no news. After that, Wang Zhong used all the money he earned to buy a house. He bought a total of 3 houses. 3 years later, the house value tripled. Wang Zhong became a millionaire in the village. With the money, Wang Zhong hired one of the top detectives in the country to investigate the people he suspected back then. Now 3 people came into his line of sight. One was Sun Lu. This woman was very utilitarian. Back then, because he ignored her, this woman badmouthed him behind his back. The detective also found that Sun Lu's account had posted a few negative reviews under his shop. The second person was Li Su. He trusted this person very much because they were classmates and had a very good relationship back then. Not long after the incident, Li Su called him a few times and said that he went abroad. The third person was someone Wang Zhong did not expect. That was Zhou Miaoyu. Zhou Miaoyu's appearance on the list of suspects surprised Wang Zhong, because she was really a good person. For example, when he was injured, Zhou Miaoyu had been taking care of him. After that, she did not want to go to school, and said that she would work for him. Since then, Zhou Miaoyu had been following Wang Zhong. Over time, Wang Zhong was with her now. The reason why he suspected her was because the detective found out from the internal system that Zhou Miaoyu had contacted a few teachers through her father's connections. Then she changed his grades. In other words, his grades were changed by Zhou Miaoyu. Her purpose was to prevent him from going to university. It's actually her. Seeing the inspection report, Wang Zhong was stunned. Thinking back, he had very little interaction with Zhou Miaoyu in the past. Although they were from the same village, they were very far apart. Although they were from the same school, they were from different classes. The 2 of them were only acquaintances. Suddenly, Wang Zhong had a flash of inspiration. He remembered that when he was in school, he and Zhou Miaoyu would often meet in the cafeteria, and even on the way home from school. Zhou Miaoyu was a woman of few words back then, but she always greeted him with a smile whenever she saw him. He thought that it was because she was polite, but now it seemed like that wasn't the case. Instead, it was because Zhou Miaoyu had a crush on him. Once, when they were eating in the school cafeteria, Zhou Miaoyu even jokingly asked him which school he was going to apply to. Now that he thought about it, Zhou Miaoyu did not want him to go to university. She wanted to be with him. Damn it. How could this be? Lin, I've finished today's order. Let's go out and get something to eat. There's a new spicy hot pot restaurant in town. Let's go eat there. Zhou Miaoyu held Wang Zhong's arm and said. Wang Zhong turned his head and stared at Zhou Miaoyu. He was thinking about something. When the fire broke out, Zhou Miaoyu was the first to arrive. Moreover, Zhou Miaoyu was able to enter and leave this place freely because she worked for him. Lin, what's wrong? Are you unhappy? Or do you feel uncomfortable? Wang Zhong shook off Zhou Miaoyu's arm. So it's you. What did you say? Zhou Miaoyu was startled, and her eyes became red. Look at this. Wang Zhong tossed the document in front of Zhou Miaoyu. So it's you. What is it? Zhou Miaoyu picked up the document suspiciously. When she saw what was displayed in the system, Zhou Miaoyu's body began to tremble. Tears welled up in her eyes. She knew that everything she had done had been discovered. And Lin, let me explain. Zhou Miaoyu held onto Wang Zhong's arm pitifully. Don't call me by my name, it makes me feel disgusted. Wang Zhong was really angry. On one hand, it was because his grades had been swapped. Anyone would be angry about something like this. On the other hand, if Zhou Miaoyu could do something like this, then why couldn't she do something like arson? Thus, in Wang Zhong's eyes, Zhou Miaoyu was a suspect. How could he treat a suspect nicely? Zhou Miaoyu suddenly burst into tears. I didn't do it on purpose. I just wanted to be with you. Hehe. It's true. Do you remember what happened at the Damon Lake Bridge when you were 9 years old? The Damon Lake Bridge was a bridge at the entrance of the village. Of course, Wang Zhong knew about it. That summer vacation, I was bullied and pushed into the water. It was you who saved me. Wang Zhong remembered now. He happened to pass by that bridge and saw Zhou Miaoyu fall into the water. Of course, he rushed over to save her. Who would have thought that it was because of that unintentional act that Zhou Miaoyu fell in love with him? And Lin, please forgive me. I know you're very disappointed that you didn't go to high school, but I did it because I liked you. I didn't want you to be with Sister Feifei, and then I didn't go to university because of you and Lin. So you saw me with Feifei and set a fire on purpose, right? Set a fire? How is that possible? Zhou Miaoyu was shocked, and her face was filled with disbelief. Why would you suspect that? That's normal. Why wouldn't I suspect you? But I didn't. I also like Sister Feifei. When I saw you two together, I resigned myself to my fate, and was preparing to go to university. I could only give you my blessings. You don't have to pretend with me, Wang Zhong said indifferently. It's true. I'm not pretending. When the fire broke out that night, you were in the first batch of people to arrive. How did you get here so quickly? I was actually next to your house. I knew that Sister Feifei was going to stay at your house tonight, and I felt uncomfortable. Hehe, I knew it. It's true. Alright, you can go. Wang Zhong sighed. What else could he say now? Did he really kill Zhou Miaoyu? In the end, there was no evidence, and she wouldn't admit to it. I'm not lying to you. I know you're not lying to me. But you also caused me to fail high school. It's too late to say anything now. You can go. There's no need to see me anymore. Rumble. Outside the house, there was the sound of thunder. In the end, Zhou Miaoyu ran out with tears in her eyes. The next day, Wang Zhong had just woken up from his sleep when he was jolted awake by a series of deafening knocks on his door. Open the door. Wang Zhong opened the door to find 2 police officers standing outside. What's wrong? Wang Zhong asked. You're Chen Anlin? I am. You know Zhou Miaoyu, right? I do. She's from the same village, and she's also my ex-girlfriend, Wang Zhong said. She's dead. What? Wang Zhong was stunned. She's dead. That's right. This morning, an old man who was scavenging saw something floating on the Damon Lake Bridge. He went over to pick it up and found that it was a female corpse. After identification, the female corpse was confirmed to be Zhou Miaoyu's. Her parents have already gone over. We found out that you were the last person Zhou Miaoyu saw in her contact list, so we're here to ask you some questions. Although Wang Zhong had said a lot of harsh words to Zhou Miaoyu last night and didn't want to see her anymore, he still felt depressed after hearing the news of Zhou Miaoyu's death. I'll go with you. Okay. On the way, Wang Zhong turned on his phone and found a message from Zhou Miaoyu at around 2 p.m. the night before. Chen Anlin, I know I'm wrong, but I really didn't set the fire. I know you don't believe me, so I've decided to use my death to prove it. In the future, please remember that there's someone who likes you. Her name is Zhou Miaoyu, silly girl. Why was she so silly? Wang Zhong looked at the message blankly. What's wrong, Mr. Chen? The police officer in the passenger seat asked after noticing Wang Zhong's strange expression. There was no need to hide such things. Wang Zhong took out the information and showed it to them. The 2 police officers suddenly realized. So that's what happened. When they reached the river, Zhou Miaoyu's body had already been pulled up and taken away by an ambulance. In the morgue, the doctor removed the white cloth that covered Zhou Miaoyu's body. Zhou Miaoyu was very peaceful. She had a faint smile on her face. Just as the message said, she had left and used her death to prove that she didn't set the fire. What surprised Wang Zhong was the fact that Zhou Miaoyu was wearing red clothes and had red lipstick on her lips. Zhou Miaoyu liked the color red. When they were dating, Zhou Miaoyu always said that she wanted to wear a red wedding dress when she married him. She got what she wanted, but she was also dead. Chen Anlin, you bastard, you're the one who killed my daughter. Just then, Zhou Miaoyu's father, Zhou Long, rushed in from outside. He tore Wang Zhong's clothes and punched him. My daughter liked you so much. Why? Why did you abandon her? Zhou Long grabbed Wang Zhong's throat tightly. Wang Zhong didn't know what to say. In the end, Zhou Long was pulled away by 2 police officers. Stop it. This is a public place. What are you doing? He killed my daughter. It's him. Although he was pulled away by the police officers, Zhou Long pointed at Wang Zhong and scolded. I trusted you so much. How could you do this to my daughter? Uncle Zhou, I didn't want to. Wang Zhong was helpless. He didn't expect Zhou Miaoyu to take things so hard. Zhou Long, calm down. This is a matter of their relationship. However, your daughter did commit suicide. He. Zhou Long shook his head bitterly. My daughter, you died for nothing. Zhou Long left the place. At night, Wang Zhong went to the place where Zhou Miaoyu committed suicide. He sighed softly. Zhou Miaoyu, why are you so silly? Sigh. Huff huff. Suddenly, a gust of cold wind blew. The weather was a little cold. However, this cold gave Wang Zhong a different feeling. It was as if someone was beside him and blowing air at him. Do you believe it now? A familiar voice was heard. Wang Zhong had goosebumps all over his body. It wasn't that Wang Zhong hadn't seen evil creatures before, but this voice was too familiar. This voice belonged to Zhou Miaoyu. Zhou Miaoyu, she's here. She's here. She's here with resentment. Chapter 666. Now do you believe me? The voice came again. Wang Zhong was suddenly reminded of the strange things that he had heard before. Those strange things showed that this world was not simple. There were many evil things. Zhou Miaoyu committed suicide while wearing a red dress. As the saying went, red dress was like blood, and death was like resentment. Those who died while wearing a red dress were more resentful. Even in death, they were still obsessed with their past. Zhou Miaoyu's resentment came from Wang Zhong not believing her. So she used her death to prove her innocence. She wanted to tell Wang Zhong that she really did not set the fire. Now, do you believe me? Zhou Miaoyu's voice came from behind him. Wang Zhong slowly turned around. The red dress fluttered in the air. Zhou Miaoyu had turned into a red dress. Her face was as pretty as before, but her face was paler. You're too stupid. You don't have to kill yourself. Wang Zhong had seen many evil things, so he was not afraid. However, seeing Zhou Miaoyu's obsession made him sad. Zhou Miaoyu smiled and suddenly reached out to grab Wang Zhong. Come down and keep me company. You. Wang Zhong was about to struggle when he suddenly opened his eyes. It was still the same Damon Lake Bridge. It was still night. He seemed to have fallen asleep just now, but Wang Zhong knew that he hadn't. What happened just now was real, because there were water stains on his chest. Zhou Miaoyu really came to find him. However, at the last moment, Zhou Miaoyu let him go. Or rather, like before, Zhou Miaoyu was playing a joke on him. In the following days, Wang Zhong moved out of the village and bought a villa in the city center. He left the shop to his employees to take care of while he continued to study how to become stronger. Unfortunately, he still did not find anything. At the same time, he found a very important clue about his classmate Li Jiao. Wang Zhong's deskmate told him about Li Jiao. Li Jiao did not come to this class reunion. Li Jiao's deskmate and Wang Zhong talked about the past. Li Jiao liked Ma Feifei a lot. In class, Li Jiao liked to sneak glances at Ma Feifei. When Ma Feifei was burned to death, Li Su had been sad for a long time. Li Su had asked him out and told him many things. Especially after he got drunk, Li Su said that he shouldn't have done it. Shouldn't have done it. After hearing what Li Jiu's deskmate said, Wang Zhong understood a lot. Actually, he had long suspected that Li Jiu was behind the fire, but unfortunately, Li Jiu had gone missing. Some of his classmates said that he had gone abroad, while others said that he was in another city. No one knew where he had gone. In the blink of an eye, Wang Zhong was 35 years old. He had become a successful person here. He had an annual income of tens of millions, a house and a car. However, what many people couldn't figure out was that such a successful person was still single. Over the years, other than making money, Wang Zhong spent most of his time collecting information on various supernatural incidents. He discovered a very important pattern. If an accidental death occurred in a place, there was a high chance that some mysterious event would occur in that place in the future. Moreover, in the places where the mysterious incident occurred, most of the people who died before were under the age of 40. In other words, even if accidents happened to people over the age of 40, it was unlikely that evil beings would appear. Thinking about it, it made sense. People over the age of 40 were more open-minded and could see through everything. Thus, they had less resentment. On this day, Wang Zhong attended a cocktail party hosted by a product manufacturer. Many famous entrepreneurs were invited. After he sat down, many people came over to toast him. "Mr. Chen, nice to meet you. I'm the general manager of Huya Cosmetics." As soon as he sat down, a woman in a white evening gown with an extraordinary aura sat beside Wang Zhong. She clearly knew him, which was normal. Wang Zhong was now a famous person here. Apart from his online store business, he had also invested in real estate and stocks. He was also the first person to invent live streaming. Back then, he had spent 50 million to invite the superstar Tang Xiaoyu to live stream. At first, everyone had laughed at Wang Zhong. It was just TV shopping. Who would buy it? However, Wang Zhong had pioneered it. During that live stream, Tang Xiaoyu had set a record of more than 1 billion in sales. This business operation was recorded in history. Wang Zhong became the founder of live streaming. His value skyrocketed again. "I'm Chen Hui." The woman smiled and extended her slender hand. "Nice to meet you." Wang Zhong extended his hand. With this touch, Wang Zhong's heart skipped a beat. So cold. This woman's hand was frighteningly cold. "Miss Chen, your body temperature is very low. You should wear more clothes. You'll catch a cold easily," Wang Zhong said casually, guessing the woman's purpose in talking to him. In this day and age, people who talked to you had ulterior motives. It couldn't be because they knew each other. There were only two motives: profit and sex. They either wanted to benefit from you or lusted after your body. "Ha ha ha, my body temperature is like this. Many friends say that I'm a cold-blooded animal. It gives me a headache." "Then your body might be weak. You need to nourish your body and control yourself." Chen Hui was stunned. She didn't expect to drive with Wang Zhong right after meeting him. "Haha, Mr. Chen, you're so humorous. I have something to do. I'll leave first." Wang Zhong didn't want to have anything to do with this kind of woman. This kind of woman was so beautiful. There must be a lot of people around her. Wang Zhong didn't want to be remembered and become a love rival. Moreover, this woman definitely didn't have good intentions. "Wait." The woman suddenly pulled Wang Zhong. "What's the matter?" Wang Zhong retracted his hand. "Haha, I just had a few drinks. I can't drive. Can you drive me back? I'm staying at the Flying Dragon Hotel." "Sorry, I have something to do." Wang Zhong left with a straight face. When he reached home, Wang Zhong stopped when he opened the door. Something was wrong. Ever since the fire, he was extra careful about where he lived. When he went out, he would always put a piece of paper between the door and the window. If the paper was missing, it meant that someone had opened the door. All these years, there had been no mistakes. Today, the paper was gone. Immediately, Wang Zhong turned to leave. Just as he turned around, a huge force pushed him in. Thud. Wang Zhong fell to the ground. "Who is it?" a hoarse voice said. "Chen Anlin, long time no see." He couldn't tell who it was, but he could tell that the person knew him. Slowly, a person walked out of the kitchen. He was wearing a black robe, and his entire body was shrouded in it. Although his face couldn't be seen clearly, Wang Zhong could tell at a glance that it was Li Su, because their figures were exactly the same. Li Su, you're back. You set Ma Feifei on fire and disappeared. I thought you committed suicide out of guilt. I didn't expect you to still be alive. I'm alive? Chen Anlin, if it wasn't for you, Feifei wouldn't have died. You bastard. If you're in a relationship, then just date. Why did you have to sleep with her? Are you jealous? Wang Zhong didn't expect Li Su to set Ma Feifei on fire because of that. If I could go to school with Feifei, you wouldn't have a chance. She would have liked me. It's all your fault. Li Su shouted stubbornly. You're crazy. Wang Zhong didn't hold back. Yes, I'm crazy. Ha ha. But you're pretty good too. It's been so many years and you knew it was me. I've investigated them one by one. You're the only one who went missing. That's right, but you definitely don't know where I went. Li Su pulled down his black robe. What came into view was a skinny head. How did you end up like this? Chen Anlin, the times have changed. This world is different. Li Su was surrounded by a cold aura. At the same time, Wang Zhong felt a black shadow approaching from behind. There's something evil on you. Wang Zhong walked to the side quietly. Back then, you were better than me in both academics and relationships. I couldn't accept it. How could you be so outstanding? So when I got closer to you, I realized that I couldn't see through you. I didn't want to do anything to you, but you stole the person I've liked since young. Why? Because you're better than me? So if I can't have her, I'll destroy her. Wang Zhong said coldly. It's been so many years. Why haven't you done anything to me? Because I want you to live. When you earn enough money, I'll take back everything you have. I see. Wang Zhong understood. Now you think the time is right. Of course. Do you know what I've been doing all these years? After I graduated from junior high, I was hit by a car when I was crossing the road. But I didn't die. I awakened. As soon as he finished speaking, Li Su reached out and a blue flame appeared in his hand. This is my power. All the evil in the world are afraid of it. Oh, so you can control those evil things. Wang Zhong could vaguely feel a cold and gloomy thing approaching him. However, this power was very weak. You're really smart. No wonder you were the top student back then. How do you want to deal with me? Wang Zhong was not in a hurry, because he knew Li Su would not kill him for the time being. Li Su hated him, and wanted to take his wealth. So he would not deal with him so quickly. I've been traveling for so many years. I've been in the circle of awakened ones, and got to know many people. There's a person called Gu Sage. He gave me a goo worm that can make people obedient. Li Su took out a small bottle. Alright, Chen Anlin. Thank you for all your efforts over the years. Your wealth will belong to me. Li Su said proudly and walked toward Wang Zhong. The goo worm in the bottle was the Gu Sage gave him. Once it was implanted into a person's body, it could control the person's nerves. So, Li Su did not want to hurt Wang Zhong. He hated Wang Zhong for being better than him, but he also wanted everything Wang Zhong had now. Sigh. Wang Zhong suddenly sighed. Why are you sighing? In the future, Wang Zhong would become a walking corpse. So he was curious about Wang Zhong's thoughts. He had even imagined Wang Zhong begging for mercy. However, it was a pity that Wang Zhong only looked at him coldly. This made him very unhappy. Because I'm laughing at you for being so childish after so many years. Chapter 667. Because I'm laughing at you for being so childish after so many years. Li Jiu's eyes widened at the taunting words. He was in disbelief. Memories from his middle school days flooded his mind. He remembered clearly that this was Wang Zhong's confident voice and demeanor. This came from his wisdom. Li Jiu could not help but feel a sense of fear. But soon, the blue fire in his hand dispelled this fear. I'm so stupid. Li Jiu laughed at himself. He was just a normal person. And now he was an awakened. With the awakened blue fire, this fire could burn everything. How could Chen Anlin fight him? Do you still think you can fight me? Li Jiu said coldly. Actually, I have this ability too. You're an awakened too? Li Jiu frowned. Ever since he entered the awakened circle, he had come into contact with many strange awakened. So he knew that there were many awakened. I'm not. Then you said you have an ability? Li Jiu asked cautiously. There is an ability in this world. Although it's not an awakened, it's still very powerful. It's called the ability to make money. With that, Wang Zhong quickly drew the gun from his back and aimed at Li Jiu's chest. Bang! 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 3 shots in a row. As a rich man, Wang Zhong had not been idle. He had obtained weapons from various sources. In the basement of this house, he had a small armory. No matter how powerful Li Jiu was, he could only fight. His body was not made of metal. How could he fight against bullets? As long as he could catch him off guard, he could kill him. Plop! Li Jiu fell to the ground. Blood kept coming out of his mouth. He muttered, kill him. Wang Zhong did not approach him. Instead he retreated. Suddenly, something cold behind him seemed to choke him. Wang Zhong was just a normal person. He could not resist the attack of these evil beings. He struggled with all his might. He was almost suffocated. Just then, he took out a bunch of things from his pocket with difficulty. Talismans, crosses, safety talismans, and all sorts of small items that he usually collected to deal with evil beings were thrown behind him. Following the destruction of a protective talisman, the evil beings behind him quickly fled. There were so many things, but only one piece talisman worked. This was also Wang Zhong's luck. If all these things were useless, then only death awaited him. Li Jiu, your evil creature isn't that powerful. You. Li Su could not speak, and his vitality was quickly fading away. At this moment, a blue flame ignited within his body. This strange flame quickly burned his body, and eventually turned him into a pile of ashes. Wang Zhong felt that it was a pity. He had wanted to find something good on Li Su's body. Picking up Li Jiu's jade bottle, Wang Zhong fell into deep thought. This thing contained the obedience goo, but he did not know how to use it. But it didn't matter. When the time came, he could just find someone to experiment on. Secondly, Wang Zhong looked at the safety talisman. This safety talisman was something he had asked for when he visited a temple a few years ago. At that time, he was hoping to get more life-saving means on him. So he asked for this thing. He didn't expect this thing to save him. I'll get more later. After cleaning up the ashes, Wang Zhong immediately went to the basement. He pulled up the surveillance footage and played the video when Li Su came in. It was confirmed that Li Su came in alone, eliminating the possibility of an accomplice. After taking a shower, he took out a weapon from the closet beside his bed. Feeling the luster of the gun's muzzle, Wang Zhong thought about how to become stronger in this life. After thinking for a long time, Wang Zhong muttered to himself, I know how to become stronger. Previously, he thought that becoming stronger depended on some special substance. Now with that sentence he could use the things around him to become stronger. Money did seem to be able to make him stronger. For example, money could buy weapons, money could buy bodyguards. In the following days, Wang Zhong began to spend money to find awakened ones. He looked at Chen Hui. After interacting with Chen Hui that day, Wang Zhong could feel that she was not normal. This woman was very likely an awakened one. Just as Wang Zhong guessed, Chen Hui did not give up on approaching him. Half a month after the party, Chen Hui approached him again on the pretext of discussing a collaboration. In the villa, Wang Zhong prepared a table full of dishes and invited Chen Hui to eat. Shredded, Wang Zhong raised his glass. In order to show that he was seduced by Chen Hui, Wang Zhong took the initiative to invite Chen Hui to his house. Chen Hui was dressed very beautifully today. She wore a green skirt and a white blouse, which set off her intellectual beauty. The two drank. Chen Hui smiled and said, I didn't expect Mr. Chen to be such an interesting person. The decorations in the house are very beautiful. Is that so, Miss Chen? You're very beautiful. Thank you. But I'm curious. What's your purpose in approaching me? Wang Zhong asked directly. The originally ambiguous atmosphere was instantly destroyed. Chen Hui was stunned. What do you mean? It's literally what it means. What's your purpose in approaching me? Wang Zhong leaned back and found a comfortable position. I've already said so. There's no need to hide it, right? Let's be frank. Alright, you're quite good. Chen Hui's expression gradually became serious. My organization has their eyes on you, so they sent me. What organization? An organization that you can't deal with. Awakened. You actually know about the Awakened? Not bad. That's right, we're an awakened organization. We specifically target rich people like you and rob your wealth. You're very good. You're the only rich person that I haven't taken down. Chunhui shrugged and said nonchalantly. You want to control me through Guzhenren's obedience, Gu? You even know about Guzhenren? Chunhui frowned. That's not right. You're just an ordinary person in the information. After saying that, Chunhui smiled. But it's normal for a rich person like you to know some things. Guzhenren's obedience Gu is useful, but its drawbacks are too great. The person it controls will only become a living dead. They won't even feel pain, and it's easy for others to see through it. So how are you going to deal with me? Have you heard of ghost cover eyes? Wang Zhong nodded. Your ability is to control evil beings? It's just the leader of our organization. I don't have such great ability. Then what's your ability? Hee. Chunhui laughed again. She laughed very happily. The corners of her mouth were wide open, very, very wide. Split mouth woman. I don't like this name. Chunhui's mouth was wide open, but she was still able to speak clearly. I like to call myself Mermaid. How are you going to control me? What's your organization called? Wang Zhong wanted to know more information, because he felt that it was about time for the obedience Gu to take effect. That's right. In the cup of wine that Chunhui drank, he put the obedience Gu. When Li Su died, Wang Zhong picked up his jade bottle. There were 3 obedience Gu in it. He bribed one of them, and tested it on a scumbag, who had just been released from prison. The effect was very good. 10 minutes after eating the obedience Gu, the scumbag's consciousness gradually dissipated, and he became a walking dead. Wang Zhong also discovered a very important point. After this person opened his eyes, he would follow his first order. But when he came into contact with others, he would not follow other people's orders at all. Wang Zhong naturally did not think that this was because he was special. He guessed that it was because this person saw him for the first time. Just like some animals, they would have a good impression of things they saw at first sight. To ensure that Chunhui was obedient, Wang Zhong put in both obedience Gu. I didn't expect you to have so many questions. But it's fine. Seeing that you're quite manly, I'll tell you. Our organization's leader gave me the soul of a ghost baby. It will cover your eyes. When the time comes, you will listen to my orders. Don't worry about your safety, because I'll be your girlfriend. Chunhui smiled. Suddenly, she was stunned because she felt that her consciousness was a little blurry. Shaking her head, Chunhui's gaze focused. What did you give me to drink? You found out pretty quickly, Wang Zhong said calmly. Damn it. Chunhui suddenly thought of a very important point. Since Wang Zhong knew that she was up to no good, he must have made preparations. But he was not worried at all. What did this mean? It meant that Wang Zhong had a backup plan. What did you give me to eat? Didn't I mention it to you just now? Wang Zhong smiled. Gu sage. Chunhui turned pale with fright. You fed me the obedience Gu. Wang Zhong nodded slightly. You're right. Chunhui immediately grabbed her throat. But it was too late. Her body began to twitch, and her 5 fingers stretched out toward Wang Zhong. Wang Zhong held her hand and said, Are you obedient? Yes. Chunhui calmed down and said without hesitation. Okay, what's your organization called? Who's your leader? How did you get the ability? Am I handsome? He asked one question after another. Sure enough, Chunhui answered them one by one. This organization was called the White Society. Chunhui did not know how this name came about. It was said that the leader of the White Society randomly came up with it. Other than that, Chunhui did not know much about the people and things in the White Society. This organization was an organization on the internet. They communicated with each other through the internet, so they did not meet each other. Chunhui was so obedient because the leader of the White Society, Xiao, had the ability to control evil beings. She did not dare to disobey. Another reason was that the purpose of this organization was to make money. Chunhui was also a person who loved money, so she joined. As for Chunhui's ability, she once ate a strange fish. Then fish scales grew on her body, and her mouth could open very wide. Looks like I have to be more careful in the future. After dealing with Chunhui, Wang Zhong began to investigate the white society. At the same time, he found that there were more and more strange things happening in society. Today there was a big news. The city's restart bridge was closed because of a huge whirlpool under the water. Chapter 668. The incident of restarting the bridge happened for many days and caused a huge reaction. Many people were wondering what was going on. Wang Zhong also secretly sent people to investigate. Finally, they concluded that a mermaid had appeared at the bottom of the sea and had eaten many passing fishermen. Now that the area was closed, dozens of warships were looking for the mermaid and preparing to clean it up. This incident lasted for 4 days. On the 5th day, a mysterious force went there. After that, it was said that the matter was solved and the bridge was reopened. In the following days, Wang Zhong invested in biology and gathered many top scientists to begin to study why the human body mutated and awakened. The first person to be studied was called Mayu. This middle-aged man was also from Chen Hui's organization. Later, Wang Zhong used Chen Hui to hook up with him. When he excitedly met Chen Hui in reality, Wang Zhong's mercenaries immediately captured him. According to the information, his ability was to release highly toxic substances from his mouth, and his breath was very heavy. Therefore, the mercenaries were all equipped with anti-poison equipment and captured him in one fell swoop. After capturing him in the research institute set up by Wang Zhong, the scientists studied his body structure, cells, skin, and even bones inside and out. They concluded that there was an extra type of melanin molecule in this person's cells. This molecule was very active. Under intense exercise, it transformed Mayu's throat. A pustule appeared in his throat, and there was a gas in it. It was the gas that released the poison. Because the gas was produced in his body, this poison did not harm him. Then, following Mayu, Wang Zhong found that there were several awakened people around Mayu. After Wang Zhong figured out the abilities of these awakened people, he planned to lure them into a valley and catch them all with a hunting net. After that, he gave them anesthetic injections and brought them into the laboratory. From beginning to end, he had caught more than a dozen awakened people. Wang Zhong now felt that he was a big villain, a rich man who pursued mysterious power. He extracted the power of these awakened people and used it on himself. Damn, isn't this a scene from some hero movies? Wang Zhong looked at the test subject behind the glass and shook the wine glass in his hand. Behind the glass was a convict on death row. He was supposed to die, but Wang Zhong had secretly taken him out and used him as an experiment. Now Wang Zhong was 50 years old. He was bald and his face was full of wrinkles. His eyes were also a little blurred, so he wore dark brown sunglasses. He leaned on his cane and stared at the test subject with an expressionless face. Today was the first experiment using the black cells in the awakened ones. Previously, after these black cells were extracted and implanted into some white mice, these mice all died without exception. Obviously, this meant that not everyone could successfully awaken the black cells. After that, the scientists here studied why these black cells could survive in certain groups of people. This research lasted for 5 to 6 years. It wasn't until 3 years ago that he made a breakthrough. That was, the reason why these people had suddenly awakened was because they had been injured. For example, Li Jiu had awakened because of a car accident. In fact, he had fractured his bones. At the time, the melanin had modified his body, allowing his body to produce blue flames. Another example was Chen Hui. She had eaten a strange fish, but according to Chen Hui, her arm had been injured when she ate the strange fish. Although he had come to a conclusion, Wang Zhong also found that not everyone would awaken after being injured. This was a matter of probability. For example, he had deliberately been injured many times, but he hadn't awakened. This time, the test subject was beaten until he was unrecognizable. The black cells slowly entered this person's body. Several high-tech instruments were staring at the test subject on the hospital bed, and various data were fed back to the computer. Heart beat faster. Lung capacity increased. Patient is about to wake up. Abnormal cell activity. Data was fed back to boss Wang Zhong. At this time, the test subject suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes were red, and a black poisonous fog was spat out of his mouth. He had awakened. He's awakened. The researcher was shocked and immediately reported to Wang Zhong. Heart rate is starting to fall. Lung capacity is normal. Cell activity is still abnormal. Physical injuries have recovered. This was equivalent to a new life for the test subject. No matter how serious his injuries were before, they were all healed at this moment. Let me go. The patient suddenly broke free from the bandages on the hospital bed and rushed to the glass wall. Bang! The huge force made the glass wall tremble violently. Wu Dahuan, calm down now. We can help you. Otherwise, we will immediately use the elimination program on you. The staff member warned. If he continued to crash like this, the glass would shatter. The boss was here. He couldn't be in danger. I have such strong power now. What can you do to me? The patient crashed again. Eliminate. A cold voice came from Wang Zhong's mouth. The security guard nodded and pressed the red button on the wall. In an instant, 2 cold gun barrels extended from the room where the patient was locked. Chi! Liquid nitrogen spewed out and froze the patient into a popsicle. No matter how powerful the awakened were, they were just floating clouds in the face of powerful technology. Find an obedient test subject, Wang Zhong said. Yes. The staff member nodded. Everyone here knew about Wang Zhong's ruthlessness. Today, Wang Zhong controlled all aspects of the city. No one here dared to disobey his orders. Next, several test subjects were tested. Wang Zhong found that these test subjects produced different abilities after being injected with the black cells. Some people produce poisonous gas. Some people produce cold air. Some people's heads grew rapidly, and some people had the ability to communicate with evil beings. At the same time, his laboratory also found that some ordinary animals had awakened. The world is going to change. This year, Wang Zhong was already 63 years old. At this age, Wang Zhong once again returned to the small mountain village. Although the once simple village still existed, the people had changed. Because more and more strange things happened, most of the villagers moved to the city. Passing by Zhou Long's uncle's house, Zhou Long, who was in his 90s, sat alone in the sun at the door. Now, he was being raised by his son. Wang Zhong secretly helped his family several times. Wang Zhong told Zhou Long's son several times to move to the city. It was dangerous here, but Zhou Long refused. Because Zhou Long said that he could often see his daughter, Zhou Miaoyu, here. Could he see her? Wang Zhong felt that he definitely could. Zhou Miaoyu had drowned and appeared in his dream once. She even asked him if he believed her now. She was a very silly girl. But she was also a girl with a good heart. Before his father died, Wang Zhong believed that Zhou Miaoyu would always be by his side to protect him. Because of this, Zhou Long was in his 90s, but he was still very energetic. It was just that his memory seemed to have faded a lot. Chen Amlin. Zhou Long stood up shakily. Where's my daughter? She's shopping outside. Wang Zhong sighed and answered. Tell her to come back early. After being kidnapped by you, she doesn't know how to go home. I know. I'll tell her to go home later. Hey, I told you not to look for you. Why didn't you listen? Zhou Long sat down helplessly and continued to stare blankly in front of him. Wang Zhong left. What he didn't notice was that a black shadow floated by the window. Looking at Wang Zhong's back, the black shadow flew out. Actually, Wang Zhong's guess was right. Zhou Miaoyu had been floating at home. There were many bodyguards with Wang Zhong to protect Wang Zhong. Arriving at the home that he hadn't returned to for many years, Wang Zhong could see that there were still traces of black smoke left behind by the fire. Sighing, Wang Zhong didn't know if Ma Feifei was in the house. Back then, Ma Feifei was burned alive here. Sister Feifei, you can actually meet Brother Chen. In the house, 2 invisible black shadows were talking. I can't meet people like this. Ma Feifei's body was black from head to toe, like a lump of coal. She was very resentful. After being burned alive, she became like this after death. Actually, after so many years, seeing him back means that he didn't forget me. I'm satisfied. Unfortunately, he's old. Yeah, I regret it too. You regret killing yourself, right? Silly. Yeah. Zhou Miaoyu sighed. In fact, becoming an evil creature wasn't a very happy thing. Both of them were in the lowest level of evil creatures and couldn't move under the scorching sun. Especially in recent years, more and more awakened ones appeared. They could only avoid these awakened ones when they encountered them. Maybe this is the last time I see him. After a while, Ma Feifei said. Yeah. At this time, Wang Zhong's bodyguards took out boxes of joss paper from the car and began to burn them. Feifei, I don't know if you can receive it. If you can, just burn it. If you see Zhou Miaoyu, tell her. I don't blame her. The ashes of the joss paper swayed in the wind and slowly flew away. A large pile of joss paper was burned. At this moment, the sky was getting dark. Let's go. Wang Zhong turned his head and walked towards the graves of his parents and grandfather. After burning joss paper for them, Wang Zhong walked towards the haunted stream on the mountain. In addition to paying respects to the dead, the more important thing was to go to the stream. This time he brought Chen Hui. Although the woman was old, she was very obedient. Although she had been living like a walking corpse, she was still very obedient. He also brought 3 test subjects. After they awakened, Wang Zhong implanted small bombs in their bodies to control them. When they finally arrived at the stream, Wang Zhong's team had already surrounded the place. Let's start. Wang Zhong's eyes were cold. After so many years, he didn't know how many lives this stream had devoured. In the past he couldn't deal with it, but now that there were 4 awakened ones, he came. Go! Wang Zhong ordered. Chapter 669. The 5 fully armed mercenaries began to walk towards the river. It had been many years since they last came here, but it was still the same as before. However, the soil was more fertile, especially the few trees, which were extremely lush. La 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 la. As soon as the 5 mercenaries entered, it was as if they had pressed a button on a music box. A melodious sound rang out, causing them to feel drowsy. Old Chen, be careful. This sounds like an illusion. Listening to it can cause one to lose consciousness. The awakened Wu Ying said. She was one of the more loyal ones. Wang Zhong did not move because he noticed that the 5 mercenaries had put down the guns in their hands and quietly walked towards the river. There was a faint smile on their faces, as if they had seen something fun. It was obvious that they were being controlled. Wake them up, Wang Zhong said. Wang Zhong was not surprised. From the previous victims here, he could tell that they were all under an illusion. That was why they drowned with a smile on their faces. Yes, the well-trained mercenaries fired a few shots at the river. The deafening sound woke the mercenaries up. What happened? Why did I run into the river? Set it on fire, Wang Zhong shouted. Yes, the awakened mercenaries sprayed flames at the river, burning the surface of the river. But at this moment, a figure formed from water pounced towards the 5 mercenaries. Chila. The 5 mercenaries were torn to pieces, dyeing the entire river red. What a fierce evil spirit. Wu Ying's face changed. Above evil spirits were evil spirits. Wang Zhong furrowed his brows. After so many years, the evil creature in this small stream had actually become so strong. It's you. Your parents were killed by me, and you still dare to come here. The evil spirit recognized Wang Zhong's identity. Wang Zhong's expression was wooden. He did not answer and shouted, "For great guardian deities, go." Yes, the 4 great guardian deities were the 4 awakened ones by Wang Zhong's side. These 4 awakened ones were the strongest, and each of them had been carefully selected. For example, Wang Zhong's first awakened, Chen Hui, had an extremely tough mermaid body. The fish scales all over her body could withstand sniper rifle fire. When she opened her mouth, her teeth were sharp enough to tear through steel. Her teeth were very sharp. Most importantly, she could spray water. According to the research, there were gills on her abdomen, which stored green water. This water could be sprayed out from her mouth, and when it hit a person's body, it had a strong corrosive effect. The 4 Vajras lined up in a row and quickly came to the riverside. The water ghost roared and aimed at Wu Ying. Wu Ying snorted and his body suddenly turned black. Once his body became rigid, Wu Ying's body would possess the strength of 1,000 jin. Bang! With a punch, the water ghost's water clone was smashed into pieces. At the same time, Chen Hui jumped into the water and swam around like a mermaid. She now had the physique of a mermaid, so she could naturally swim freely in the water. So the water ghost was still not strong enough to deal with her. The destruction of the water clone seemed to have a great impact on the water ghost. It lost its previous domineering aura and shouted in a hoarse voice, "For strong ones, all very strong. Today you will die." Wang Zhong took off his black glasses and said, "At most, we will die together." The water ghost once again transformed into a human, but this time it was even bigger. The water in the small stream was all sucked dry, and there was no living thing in it. "I am the water spirit. You dare to provoke me." The water spirit's eyes were fierce, revealing hatred, and its huge foot stomped towards Wu Ying. Wu Ying was caught off guard, and was stomped into a meat patty on the spot. The power of a single stomp was terrifying. Wang Zhong's face was heavy as he ordered, "Blast him." Yes. Several mercenaries took out rocket launchers from the car, while others took out flamethrowers and fired at the water spirit. A group of ant-like dogs. The water spirit was furious, but its tone was faintly uneasy. Although it was strong, as the saying goes, water counters fire, and fire can also counter water. With so many flames on its body, its ability was greatly reduced. Chen Hui took the opportunity and turned into a mermaid. Fish scales covered her body, her clothes were torn, and she quickly entered the water spirit's body. This wasn't just a normal swimming, it was actually destroying the water spirit's body. This time, to deal with the evil creatures here, Wang Zhong could be said to have made a lot of preparations. First of all, what the water spirit didn't know was that before this, Wang Zhong had secretly installed a wireless monitoring device. Even drones and unmanned underwater devices were secretly sent in to investigate. Therefore, after the analysis of Wang Zhong's scientists, they found that the water spirit here wasn't a human or a living creature, but water. That's right, it was a water spirit. In other words, this small stream itself was a place where people were eaten. There were many such things, such as tree demons and mountain gods. The so-called mountain gods were actually mountain spirits. But this kind of mountain spirits were very rare. For this kind of situation to occur, it meant that there was a heaven and earth treasure in this place, so it could turn an ordinary stream into a spirit. Therefore, in order to protect this heaven and earth treasure, even if it was very strong, it still didn't leave. This time, to deal with this water spirit, Wang Zhong's experts had already formulated several plans to deal with it. Fire attacks, incendiary bombs, coupled with the harassment of the four King Kong, they should be able to eliminate this water spirit. And at that time, Wang Zhong looked at the stream bed behind the water spirit. There must be a treasure in that place. Immediately, Wang Zhong looked at the other team behind him. This team was called the Awakened Team. Their strength was weaker than the four King Kong, but they had the advantage in numbers, and each of them had their own abilities. Go to the stream bed. Wang Zhong gave the second order. Yes, more than a dozen fully armed teams split into two groups and rushed towards the stream bed. So. One of them quickly jumped into the stream bed, holding an energy detector in his hand. This was also Wang Zhong's laboratory's detector for special energy. If a strange unknown energy appeared, this detector would emit a sharp sound. Seeing this group of people looking for something in the stream bed, the water spirit panicked even more. Ignoring the harassment of the remaining three King Kong, it turned around and stomped two hunters to death, roaring angrily. "I know, old Chun. It must be afraid that we will take its things. That's why it's so angry," the assistant on the side said to Wang Zhong. Wang Zhong also saw this point, which made him even more determined to get the treasure here. Help! The water spirit once again crushed two hunters to death, laughing wildly. A group of reckless humans. In front of powerful strength, the water spirit felt that this group of so-called hunters was too weak. However, at this time Wang Zhong didn't panic at all, asking the assistant next to him, "How's the water spirit's energy?" "It's rapidly weakening. The current energy is only 2/3 of its initial energy. This body can only last for 3 minutes at most." "Very good." Wang Zhong nodded with satisfaction, secretly thinking that no matter how powerful an awakened ability user was, in front of his hydrogen gold, they were nothing. 3 minutes later, Although more than half of the hunters were dead, the only one left of the three King Kong was Chen Hui, who knew how to swim. But the water spirit couldn't hold on any longer. Its huge body began to collapse. The energy body is less than half. Continue to fight, try to capture it alive. Wang Zhong ordered. The water spirit panicked. It turned its head to look at the center of the stream bed. Its face was filled with unwillingness, and it turned to leave. But just as it ran out, the mercenaries who had been lying in ambush rushed out, firing incendiary bombs and flamethrowers at the water spirit. At the same time, a hunter's energy detector finally detected a sharp sound in the middle of the stream bed. This proved that there was something extraordinary down there. Reporting energy body found. Take it out, Wang Zhong shouted excitedly. Yes. Several hunters came to the riverbed and began to dig. About a meter deep, a palm-sized green jade stone was dug out. As the jade stone was dug out, the water spirit seemed to have suffered a heavy blow. Its shrunken body was once again reduced to the size of an ordinary person. One of the hunters flicked his hair, and the water spirit wrapped around his hair. Then with a fierce pull, the water spirit was instantly torn apart, turning into a pool of smelly black water. Burn all the black water. Leave nothing behind. Wang Zhong mercilessly gave the order, took the jade stone from the hunter, and held it in his hand. The jade stone was warm in his hand, and he could vaguely see a mass of blood inside. What is this? Wang Zhong's eyes narrowed. This is probably some kind of treasure, old Chun. You can take it back and have a look. The assistant said. Okay, let's go. Now that the water spirit was dealt with, there was no need to stay here. Back in the laboratory, the researchers studied the jade inside and out, and from the analysis, they found that the inside of the jade was blank, as if there was another world. At the same time, they found that if the jade stone was placed in the soil would become fertile. If it was placed in water, the water would become clear. Over time, it would give birth to a spirit. In the blink of an eye, Wang Zhong was 60 years old. After so many years, the world had changed a lot. The once secret hunters were recognized by the world, but the social order was not chaotic, because most of the hunters were recruited into the security department. This department specializes in dealing with all kinds of strange worlds. After all, humans have awakened, but there are also many monsters, evil creatures, and even zombies in the world. At the same time, Wang Zhong found out that the government had their eyes on him. For so many years, he experimented on living people. For the sake of his research, who knows how many corpses and living people he had disposed of. Many awakened ones secretly knew of his actions and treated him as a deranged executioner. They swore to kill Wang Zhong. Regarding this, Wang Zhong didn't find it strange, because what he had done was indeed very cruel. Although most of the people who were experimented on were scum and prisoners on death row, in the end, many cruel and merciless managers appeared under his bloated organization. These people also secretly experimented on living people, and these blood debts were all counted on him. On this day, a team of hunters killed their way into his laboratory. Boom! Wang Zhong stayed in the basement of the villa, looking at the jade stone in his hand and muttered, "Spending money. It seems that spending money is not the way to become stronger." Chapter 670. It seems that spending money isn't the way to become stronger. After making money, Wang Zhong hired bodyguards, mercenaries, and even set up a chemical and biological laboratory to study the secrets of the human body and the awakening of awakened ones. In the end, he even created a team of awakened ones to do the dirty work for him. But because of this, he offended a lot of people. It seemed that he was very strong, but these were just external things after all. Just like now, his laboratory was discovered, and now it was blown into ruins. Glancing at the surveillance video outside the villa in front of him, Wang Zhong sighed. A group of unknown people came outside, and his guards were taken care of one by one. Even the mermaid Chun Hui was torn to pieces by an evil spirit. Obviously, this group of awakened ones was coming for him. It seems that at this time in this life, I won't have a good ending. Just as he was thinking, the door was knocked open, and Wang Zhong was directly thrown out, slamming heavily on the ground. He felt that all the old bones in his body were broken, and the pain was unbearable. At the same time, the jade stone in his hand fell to the ground. The jade stone was very fragile and instantly shattered into pieces. But at this time, a stream of light flew out from the jade stone and swept in front of Wang Zhong. He saw that something was wrong at a glance. At this moment, his blood and the jade stone had fused together. A message suddenly appeared in front of him. Shinnong's law is being bound. Name: Chen Anlin. Cultivation: an old man without any vitality. Status: near death. Planted plants: 0. Spiritual land area: 0. Spiritual fruits: 0. Law store: not open yet. As you have received Shinnong's inheritance, congratulations on receiving the newbie gift pack. Do you want to open the newbie gift pack? The flashing golden words in front of him reminded Wang Zhong. Wang Zhong suddenly smiled. This jade stone turned out to be a system inheritance, and this inheritance came from Shinnong. At this moment, Wang Zhong understood. The so-called path to becoming stronger was actually to find special things around him. Unfortunately, it was too late. One by one, the awakened ones had already surrounded him. Old man Chen, you deserve to die. The person who spoke stepped on Wang Zhong's head. It was instantly torn apart. Character died, lost 46,000 EXP. Damn, so many experience points dropped. Wang Zhong was stunned, and his heart ached. Although there was a lot of EXP, it shouldn't drop like this. Come to think of it, this was because they were very old in the game. In the game, the older you were, the more experience you would lose when you died. This time, he had lived for a long time and died at a very old age, so he dropped a lot of experience points. If I continue to hide, I might be able to complete the game when I die of old age. Wang Zhong muttered under his breath and quickly shook his head. However, if he did that, he might not gain much EXP, because in the end, he didn't become stronger. He didn't even know if he could complete the quest. Fortunately, at the last moment, he knew how to become stronger. He wanted to get his hands on that jade and obtain Shinnong's inheritance. Not only that, but he also wanted to resolve all the grudges and regrets he had in this life. He would not leave any regrets for himself. He didn't enter the game. Instead, he rested for a while and ate something. After a nap, when it was almost dawn, Wang Zhong opened his eyes and entered the game. Ouch, doctor, my stomach hurts, it hurts so much. Breathe, take deep breaths, push harder. Ouch, ouch. The child is coming out, push harder, push harder. I can see the end. It was a familiar beginning. Just like in his previous life, a few months later, his parents drowned in the stream. This was something Wang Zhong couldn't change. Because he was only a few months old, he couldn't persuade his parents not to go. After his parents died, the burden of the family fell on his grandfather's shoulders. Child, you have to be obedient in the future. Grandpa Chen hugged the child inside. Finally, Wang Zhong was 5 years old. More and more stories about the ghosts at the stream. On this day, Wang Zhong took advantage of the holiday to go to the place where he obtained the amulet in his previous life, and asked for dozens of amulets. At this time, the water spirit at the stream was still very weak. If it relied on illusions to kill, these amulets should be enough. After asking for the amulet, Wang Zhong took the bus back home. It was noon. After eating a few mouthfuls of food, Wang Zhong rushed up the mountain without stopping. The mountain was silent and windless. There was a barrier around the stream to prevent people from getting close. As Wang Zhong walked over, a melodious voice rang out beside his ear. La la la, la la la. The sound wasn't as enticing as it was in his previous life. This was because the water spirit was still very weak. Wang Zhong picked up a learning device and played some music. The intense music counteracted the temptation. At this time, Wang Zhong was like a little adult as he walked up to the stream. At this time, he was thinking about how to deal with the water spirit. He didn't expect a child to appear in the water. This child was the one who drowned here before. He was now under the water spirit's control and smiled at Wang Zhong. Come play. Wang Zhong laughed. What's so fun about the water? If you're a man, come on shore. It's fun in the water, you can even swim. Under the water spirit's command, the drowned child happily swam in the water, trying to lure Wang Zhong into the water. Wang Zhong didn't fall for it. He took out a large bottle of gasoline from his bag. Water isn't fun, let's play with fire. Wang Zhong had secretly extracted the gasoline from a villager's car. He would extract a little every day, but that villager didn't realize it. Seeing the gasoline in Wang Zhong's hand, the drowned child was stunned. He didn't understand what Wang Zhong meant by doing this. The atmosphere suddenly became silent. Wang Zhong sprinkled the gasoline on the lake. Let's play with fire. No. The water spirit was exasperated. Fire can subdue it, it won't allow this place to catch fire. Wang Zhong suddenly realized. Sure enough, you're afraid of fire. The lighter was ignited, instantly igniting the lake. Ah! A shrill cry sounded. Wang Zhong took the safety talisman and threw it into the water. The drowned child was like a mouse that saw a cat. His face twisted in fear. He wanted to run away, but because he was trapped here by the water spirit, he couldn't escape. In the blink of an eye, the drowned child turned into a pile of ash. Because he was too weak, he was the first to dissipate. The water spirit turned into a human form, but very small like a baby. He stared at Wang Zhong and roared. So you came here specifically to deal with me? You're playing with fire. I'm playing with fire. The water spirit was thoroughly angered by Wang Zhong's arrogant attitude, but at the same time, he also felt it was unbelievable. Just a little brat, acting so arrogant, he must teach him a lesson for his parents. But at this time, he was stunned again. Wang Zhong took out another barrel of gasoline. It's a bit expensive, but there's no other way. Wait! The water spirit's eyes were filled with panic, but it was too late. As the flames burned, the water spirit's body shrank a lot. The water spirit panicked. In the end, he was just an evil creature that had just gained consciousness. His IQ was equivalent to a naughty child. Encountering someone like Wang Zhong who knew how to restrain him, he simply couldn't deal with him. As the flames continued to burn, the water spirit's screams became smaller and smaller until they finally disappeared. The river below turned into a puddle of stinking black water. At this moment it was dark. Wang Zhong left the place, thinking about when to buy a pump and generator to pump out the water. But the problem was, he didn't have any money right now. Anyway, that thing can't run away from the bottom of the lake. I'll come back later when I earn some money. This time Wang Zhong was very tired. After returning home, he was seriously ill for 3 days, scaring old man Chen. In a flash, he finally went to primary school. When he was 9 years old, Wang Zhong went to the edge of the Damon Lake Bridge and saw Zhou Miaoyu again. Wang Zhong clearly remembered that the reason why Zhou Miaoyu fell in love with him, in addition to his handsome appearance, was because he saved her. But Zhou Miaoyu was too stubborn. In the end, in order to make him believe, she chose to commit suicide. Thinking about it, Wang Zhong still went to save her, because if he didn't save her, Zhou Miaoyu would really die. Zhou Miaoyu choked a few mouthfuls of water. Wang Zhong grabbed her arm and used his familiar swimming skills to pull Zhou Miaoyu out of the water. Then he gave her mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Cough, cough, cough. Zhou Miaoyu coughed violently and slowly woke up. Wang Zhong looked at Zhou Miaoyu with a complicated expression. Before, Wang Zhong didn't know about Zhou Miaoyu's love for him, so he ignored this girl. But now that he saw it, Wang Zhong felt that there were some feelings in his heart. But as soon as Zhou Miaoyu woke up, Wang Zhong left. Zhou Miaoyu was too stubborn. He didn't want Zhou Miaoyu to be jealous in the future and commit suicide. So he chose not to get to know Zhou Miaoyu. When Zhou Miaoyu woke up, Wang Zhong was already far away. She rubbed her forehead. It's so uncomfortable. Who saved me just now? Zhou Miaoyu asked her friends. Her friends shook their heads worriedly. It seems to be a child, he's really amazing. Yes, after saving you, he said he had something to do and left. His back is so handsome. Another girl said with a smitten look. Zhou Miaoyu looked at Wang Zhong's back, but unfortunately, she couldn't see anything, only a small black dot. So handsome, Zhou Miaoyu said in a daze. Although he solved the problem of the water spirit, Wang Zhong didn't dig up the jade below for the past few years. On the one hand, it was because he didn't have money. Later, his family's situation improved a bit, and he had money, but he was still too young. Even if he bought a generator and water pump, he couldn't carry them up alone. Was he going to ask an adult for help? That wouldn't be easy to explain. So Wang Zhong gave himself time. On the third day of the Lunar New Year, just like in his previous life, Li Su treated him very well and called him brother. He had a crush on the class belle Ma Feifei. On the surface, they called each other brother. But Wang Zhong knew that this guy was always scheming against him. In this life, I have to make Li Su die early, to prevent future troubles. Wang Zhong thought to himself. Brother Chen, I brought you lunch. Li Su walked over with a smile. Chapter 671. How thoughtful of you. Looking at Li Su's smiling face, Wang Zhong couldn't help but sigh. His acting was too good. Even though he had seen countless people, Li Su's acting was definitely at the level of an award-winning actor. He hid his hatred for him really well. If one didn't look closely, one wouldn't be able to tell. Just then Ma Feifei walked over. Class rep, there's a question that I don't quite understand. Can you show me? Sure. Wang Zhong smiled and held Ma Feifei's slender hand. Seeing this, Li Su's eyes turned red. Wang Zhong laughed in his heart. He couldn't hide it anymore. Ma Feifei was naturally interested in Wang Zhong. These days, Wang Zhong had been secretly hinting at her, especially on the way home from school. Her first kiss was given to Wang Zhong. Hence, Ma Feifei didn't reject Wang Zhong's hand-holding. She pretended not to see it, but her heart was racing. Cough, cough, cough. Class rep, Feifei is a girl. How can you take advantage of her? In the end, Li Su couldn't help but blurt it out. Wang Zhong turned his head and smiled. Li Su, don't you know that Feifei has agreed to be my girlfriend? What? Li Su was stunned. His face was full of disbelief. But you're still kids. How can you do this? Wang Zhong stood up and said calmly. None of your business. Li Su looked at Wang Zhong in disbelief. He didn't understand why Wang Zhong's attitude toward him was so bad. He thought for a long time. He acted perfectly in front of Wang Zhong. Not only did he buy him snacks, but he also brought him lunch. He wanted to get closer to Wang Zhong. But the effect didn't seem to be that good. Suddenly, Li Su's eyes turned cold. Regardless of Wang Zhong's attitude toward him, to him, this man dared to touch his goddess hand. This was unforgivable. Kill him, kill him, kill him, Li Su snorted coldly as a strong murderous intent surged in his heart. When school was finally over, Wang Zhong smiled at Li Jiu. Come to my house and play. I want to talk to you about Feifei. Okay, Li Jiu agreed without hesitation. He planned to kill Wang Zhong and then burn him to death. In order to ensure the success of the plan, he did not tell anyone. Following Wang Zhong home, Li Jiu smiled innocently. Class monitor, what did you want to tell me about Feifei? So mysterious? I told her that the two of us will go to the same high school and get married after graduation. What do you think? So fast. Li Su was taken aback. The killing intent in his heart grew even stronger. Yes, I brought you to my house this time because I have something to show you. What is it? Li Su asked casually. He was very curious. You'll know when you see it. Wang Zhong deliberately took a small path in the countryside to avoid the villagers. He didn't go home. Instead, he went straight to the stream. After so many years, the police cordon had disappeared, but it was even more deserted because no one came here anymore. Why is your house so secluded? Li Jiu frowned. He walked to the stream and held his nose. The water stinks. The water spirit had died here, so the water here had turned into stagnant water. The smell was not pleasant. Looking at Li Jiu, Wang Zhong pushed him into the water. Chen Anlin, what are you doing? I want you dead. Thinking about how he had been burned alive by this man twice, Wang Zhong wanted to cut him into pieces. He deserved to die for being so cruel at such a young age. No, Li Jiu was shocked. He was unable to resist. His head was pushed into the stagnant water by Wang Zhong. 1 minute later, Li Jiu finally gave up. After pushing Li Jiu into the water, Wang Zhong turned to leave. From that day onward, Li Jiu disappeared mysteriously. The school organized many people to search for him, but the surveillance showed that after Li Jiu and some other students left the school, they left on their bicycles. But strangely enough, Li Jiu rode in the opposite direction of his home. He was supposed to live in town, but this time, he rode toward the countryside. Chun Anlin ma fei fei, Li Jiu rode in the direction of your home. Have you heard where he went? The search went on for several days, but there was still no sign of Li Jiu. Therefore, the teacher went to find Wang Zhong, Ma Feifei, and a few other students. I'm not sure. My mother came early that day, so I left first, Ma Feifei answered honestly. I don't know either. I walked home. Another student said carefully. It was Wang Zhong's turn. Wang Zhong had already prepared his excuse. I also saw Li Jiu leave on his bicycle, but I didn't go with him. The search for Li Jiu continued. 1 month later, someone suspected that Li Jiu might have been kidnapped by his parents' enemies, so the investigation changed. As for Wang Zhong, he started to prepare for the excavation of jade. In the past few years, to save time, he had kept his online shop small. He only earned a few tens of thousands a year, so it was enough to buy the generator. On this weekend, the diesel pump he had bought had finally arrived. There were 3 in total. Wang Zhong placed the 3 diesel pumps on the trolley, added the diesel and oil, and pushed the trolley up the mountain. After many days, the black water here stank. After setting up the pumps, Wang Zhong pumped all the black water into a big hole on the side. Walala! 3 streams of water quickly pumped the water out of the pool. 2 hours later, the water was finally gone. Putting on his muddy shoes, Wang Zhong stepped on the muddy ground and walked towards the small stream. Aiming at the center, he started to dig. Soon the jade was dug out. After reaching the shore, Wang Zhong looked at the shining jade in his hand. His heart was pounding. This was the key to becoming stronger in this life. He cut his finger and smashed the jade stone into pieces. His blood dripped onto the shattered jade stone. Ding! Shinnong's law is being bound. Name, Chun Anlin. Cultivation 0. Status, young, somewhat asthmatic. Planted plants 0. Spiritual land area 0. Spiritual fruits 0. Law store, not open yet. As you have received Shinnong's inheritance, congratulations on receiving a newbie gift pack. Would you like to open the newbie gift pack? Wang Zhong was sure that he had received a system-like inheritance. This inheritance should have been passed down by someone with a strong cultivation. It was passed down to others in a way that was digitized. A thought flashed through Wang Zhong's mind as he opened the great novice gift bag. Ding! Congratulations, inheritor. You have received a corn seed. They really want me to farm. As expected of Shinnong's inheritance. Wang Zhong ridiculed. Immediately after, he felt that something was strange. What was the use of this corn seed? Even if the corn seed grew big and thick and could be used day and night, what was the use? Could it be that eating it could make one immortal? After complaining for a while, Wang Zhong also found a very important point. In the panel in front of him, it was similar to a space. Above the space was a small grid. A material similar to a corn seed was in the small grid. On the small grid, there was a number, 1. It could be seen that this was a space for storing things. With a thought, the corn seed was summoned. In his hand was a corn seed that emitted a golden color. This was very different from an ordinary corn seed. Ordinary corn kernels were just pure yellow, full of simplicity and simplicity. However, this corn seed was not ordinary. He could see that it was extraordinary at a glance. At this time, the corn seed's data also appeared in front of him. Sweet corn seed can only be planted in spiritual land. It takes 1 minute to grow. Effect: increases cultivation, strengthens the body, and tolerates hunger. Successful planting will reward 10 skill points. At the same time, Wang Zhong also found that the broken jade seemed to have melted and merged into the ground. At this time, the spiritual land area became 10 by 5. This area was about the size of the stream. Wang Zhong did not want to waste time, and immediately planted the corn seed. Not long after he put it down, an emerald green seedling broke out of the ground. Sure enough, it only takes 1 minute to plant. Wang Zhong was stunned. Soon, The emerald green seedling grew bigger and bigger, and became as tall as a person. This crop was different from ordinary corn. It was bigger in size and the corn cobs on it were long and thick. Each corn seed was the size of a fingernail. However, there were not many corn cobs. There were only 3 corn cobs. The crop finally grew. Ding! Corn has matured. Number 3. Skill points plus 10. Shinong Shopping Center has been opened. Looking at the system shopping center on the panel, Wang Zhong thought to himself that the skill points were used to buy things in the shopping center. However, there were only 2 products in the shopping center. One was Happy Water. Happy Water. Spiritual land will gradually lose its spirituality with the passage of time. At this time, it needs to be watered by Happy Water. P.S. Watering crops will have a miraculous effect. The other product was a seed. A sweet and sour vegetable seed. A vegetable seed that suits most people's taste. It's long in shape. P.S. Can be eaten as a snack. It's crunchy. The prices of these 2 products were quite cheap. Happy Water, 100 skill points per bottle. The vegetable seed was quite cheap. It only cost 10 skill points. However, Wang Zhong did not exchange for it. After breaking off 3 corn cobs, he moved his mind and stored 2 corn cobs into the Shinong storage space. The empty space showed corn 2. Wang Zhong wanted to try the remaining corn cob first. Each corn seed was very plump. When he gently pressed the corn seed, in an instant, juice sprayed out. What sprayed out was actually white juice. It almost sprayed Wang Zhong's face. Damn, this is too much. Wang Zhong was a bit stunned. Then he took a plump corn seed and ate it. One was just enough for 1 bite. The moment it entered his mouth, the rich white juice could no longer be contained in his mouth. It overflowed from the corner of Wang Zhong's mouth. So delicious. Wang Zhong felt a spring breeze. Fragrant, sweet, refreshing, all kinds of wonderful taste filled his taste buds. Not only that, Wang Zhong also found a very important place. Chapter 672. My strength seems to have become stronger too. Wang Zhong was overjoyed. Even though he had already mentally prepared himself before eating the corn, and felt that eating it would make him stronger, he was still overjoyed when he realized that his body had truly become stronger. After eating another corn grain, Wang Zhong found that he was actually half full. He couldn't help but smack his lips, secretly thinking that this corn grain could last for a few days. Then he ate several more corn grains in a row until his stomach was round, and he began to check his status. Name: Chun Anlin Cultivation, 1 cultivated plants, 1 spiritual land area, 10x5 spiritual fruits, 3 law shopping center, open technique points, 10 at this time. Wang Zhong found that this corn crop was slowly rotting, as if it had melted and rotted in the original ground. Ashes to ashes, soil to soil. The essence returned to its original place, forming a good cycle. On the way back, Wang Zhong punched the air, and it actually formed a sound of air explosion. One could imagine that this strength was not bad. My cultivation is already so strong with only 1. Wang Zhong felt that his problem of breathing was gone. He was fine even after running for so long. He couldn't help but think about the next step of his plan. First of all, he could be sure that eating the fruits grown from the seeds in Shinong Shopping Center was very beneficial. However, those seeds and even the happy water used to water them all required technique points. Currently, he knew that technique points were obtained through planting. Was there any other way? Ding. Of course there is. In order to make the inheritor not forget his original intention, and be willing to help others, besides relying on planting to obtain technique points, you can also obtain technique points by helping others, saving the dying and healing the injured, punishing the evil and promoting the good. The voice that suddenly appeared in his mind made Wang Zhong stunned for a moment. You are the inheritance? He had to admit that this inheritance was really amazing. He could actually communicate with it. As expected of the inheritance of a powerful person, it was really different. I am the inheritance assistant. If you don't understand anything about the inheritance, I will provide advice. The voice was very cold and it sounded emotionless. Got it. Wang Zhong understood in his heart. Skill points could also be obtained through helping others, saving lives, punishing evil and promoting good. He just didn't know which would give him more points compared to farming. Since it was still early, Wang Zhong ran to his house to get some pumpkin and cucumber seeds. Carrying the hoe, he ran back to the spiritual land. Hey Chen Anlin, why are you carrying a hoe and going to a haunted place? Uncle Zhou Long shouted when he saw Chen Anlin on the way. Yes, Wang Zhong shouted without turning his head. What could have happened? Seriously, this child is really rude. Zhou Long muttered. Dad, who are you talking to? Zhou Miaoyu asked from behind. With that brat Chen Anlin, I really don't know what he's up to. Following Zhou Long's gaze, Zhou Miaoyu was slightly stunned when she saw Wang Zhong's back. This back seemed to be the back of the person who had saved her. Is he the one who saved me? Zhou Miaoyu was excited and said, Dad, I won't go to town with you. You don't want to buy new clothes? Zhou Long found it strange. Just a moment ago, his baby daughter was still clamoring to buy new clothes to wear. Zhou Miaoyu said, I suddenly thought of something. Then, Zhou Miaoyu ran out alone towards the small road in the countryside. Daughter, be careful. Don't go to haunted places. I know. Zhou Miaoyu did not turn her head. Wang Zhong came to the edge of the spiritual land. This time he brought 3 bags of seeds, pumpkin, cucumber, and some raw melon seeds. Why did he bring these seeds? Because his grandfather would usually leave the ripe fruits last year and let them rot. When the time came, he could just take the seeds inside. For example, pumpkin seeds were taken out after the pumpkin rotted. Cucumber seeds were cucumber seeds. Melon seeds were because there was a row of sunflowers in front of his house, so there were quite a lot of melon seeds. Coming to the edge of the spiritual land, a row of seed information appeared in front of him. Pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds of average quality, good nutrition. P.S. It should be very sweet to eat. Cucumber seeds. Some shriveled cucumber seeds, most of them eaten by insects. P.S. It is recommended to choose a few useful seeds. Melon seeds, plump seeds, very good quality. P.S. It tastes very good to eat. I didn't expect that even ordinary seeds could be analyzed. This inheritance is really not bad. Wang Zhong first planted pumpkin seeds. Pumpkins were relatively easy to plant. He chose a place on the edge of the spiritual land, dug a small hole, and planted it. Then it was melon seeds. Planting sunflowers required frequent exposure to the sun. He chose a place near the south, where there was plenty of sunlight. Then it was cucumber seeds. Because the seeds were all placed in a black bag, Wang Zhong did not know what was going on inside. Opening it, sure enough, most of the seeds were eaten by insects. Throwing away the eaten seeds, only a dozen cucumber seeds were left. After putting them in place, Wang Zhong waited for the plants to grow with a clear conscience. Unfortunately, this time it grew very slowly. Assistant, is it because the seeds are ordinary this time, so they grow so slowly? Wang Zhong asked. Yes, if you want to grow fast, you have to water them with happy water. I see. Unfortunately, happy water was too expensive and he could not afford it now. At the same time, he was also thinking about how to deal with this spiritual land. As time passed, the villagers would definitely come over. What should he do when they discovered this land? This was his secret to becoming stronger, and he did not want others to see it. Therefore, he was considering whether he could make money and surround this land. It would be best if he could buy it. Why did you come to a haunted place? At this time, a clear female voice was heard. Zhou Miaoyu. Seeing who it was, Wang Zhong was speechless. In this life, he tried his best to avoid Zhou Miaoyu. How could he still meet her? Wow, you've drained all the water here? Looking at the empty stream, Zhou Miaoyu was surprised. Yes, why are you here? I came to see you. This place is haunted, don't you know? I'm worried about you, Zhou Miaoyu said generously. Thank you for your concern, but the water in the stream has been drained. It's fine, Wang Zhong said. Oh. Zhou Miaoyu nodded slightly. You think this land is fertile, so you want to plant here? You can say that. There are a lot of mosquitoes here. You're a girl, so you should go back early. It's fine, I'm wearing jeans. Zhou Miaoyu was very curious, and then sighed. You're so smart. People often drown here, so you drained the water. That way no one will drown. He had to admit that Zhou Miaoyu's imagination was quite good. However, he did not want to have anything to do with Zhou Miaoyu in this life. Therefore Wang Zhong stared at her and said, I still have work to do. If there's nothing else, you can leave. Zhou Miaoyu curled her lips. I'm here to thank you. Thank me. That time when I almost drowned by the river, it was you who saved me, right? For a long time, Wang Zhong's back view after he left had been lingering in Zhou Miaoyu's mind. She had also asked her friends who had saved her, but no one knew. Everyone guessed that it might be a child from the village. Just now Zhou Miaoyu recognized it. Unexpectedly, Wang Zhong calmly shook his head. I don't know what you're talking about. Was it not him? Zhou Miaoyu was suspicious. Her good impression of Wang Zhong came purely from knowing that Wang Zhong saved her. However, looking at Wang Zhong's expression, it did not seem like he saved her. After all, if he really saved her, why would he not dare to admit it for no reason? Forget it, it seems like it's not you. Zhou Miaoyu muttered, then turned and walked away. Phew, seeing her leave, Wang Zhong breathed a sigh of relief. To be honest, Zhou Miaoyu was indeed quite good-looking, especially her figure, which was very hot. However, to Wang Zhong, his heart was as still as water. He only wanted to farm and be an honest farmer. He did not want to be involved in anything else. Aya. Just as he was about to pack up and go home to help others, Wang Zhong heard a cry on the way back. It sounded like Zhou Miaoyu's voice. She must have fallen. Looking at the hoe, Zhou Miaoyu really tripped. Her hands and knees were covered in blood, and even her pants were torn. What happened to you? Wang Zhong jogged over and asked with concern. Zhou Miaoyu felt wronged. I was going down the mountain when a snake suddenly ran out of the bushes. I was so scared that I accidentally fell down. It hurt so much. Sigh. Wang Zhong sighed and was about to save her when a notification from the inheritance assistant popped up in front of him. Mission: Save Zhou Miaoyu. Choice 1. Walk over gently and use your mouth to lick her wounds clean. Reward: 100 technique points. Choice 2. Carry Zhou Miaoyu down the mountain. Reward: 10 technique points. No way, sir. You can drive like this? The girl has already fallen so miserably. Wang Zhong really wanted to complain. Ding. At this moment, the inheritance assistant seemed to know what Wang Zhong was thinking and suddenly jumped out to respond. Assistant. A qualified farmer not only knows how to farm, but also needs to have the moral character of saving people. These rescue missions are used to train you. Please choose in time. Wang Zhong was speechless. The first choice was definitely not possible. If he told Zhou Miaoyu that he would lick her wounds clean, she would probably fight him to the death. So Wang Zhong chose the second choice. Wang Zhong walked to Zhou Miaoyu. Let me carry you down. Without waiting for Zhou Miaoyu's response, Wang Zhong carried her on his back. Thank you, Zhou Miaoyu said gratefully. Don't mention it. If it was someone else, I would have helped. Wang Zhong said this because he did not want to have anything to do with Zhou Miaoyu. Zhou Miaoyu pouted again. You're such a weird kid. Wang Zhong did not reply. After sending Zhou Miaoyu home, he greeted Zhou Long. Uncle Zhou, I saw your daughter fall down the mountain, so I carried her back. Daughter, are you okay? Why are you so careless? Zhou Long was heartbroken. Then I'll go first. After leaving, Wang Zhong went home and had something to eat with his grandpa. Then he rode his bicycle to the town to do something good. Ding. Mission: the grandma crossing the road. Chapter 673. Ding. Mission: poor granny. In front of Wang Zhong, there was a lot of traffic. It was after work hours, so there were a lot of cars. The town lacked traffic lights, so pedestrians had to be careful when crossing the road. An old granny was using crutches to cross the road, but her legs were very inconvenient. She looked very pitiful. This time there was no choice. Wang Zhong helped the old granny and said, I'll send you. Thank you, young man. After sending the old granny across the road, Wang Zhong received 10 technical points. After that, Wang Zhong did a few good deeds and earned a lot. This let Wang Zhong taste the sweetness. Now he had hundreds of technical points. It was already dark. At this time, Wang Zhong came to a building and received a notification. Ding. Mission: starved to death. A young man starved to death in room 301 of the building. He was full of resentment. He wanted to eat. Eliminated resentment. Received 100 technical points. Seeing the message, Wang Zhong's heart skipped a beat, because he remembered the paranormal incident of the delivery guy in his previous life. At that time, a delivery guy delivered food more than 10 times in a row. Only then did he realize that the family he delivered to was already dead. In the end, the food that was delivered was also found to be moldy and black. Calculating the time, the news appeared a week later. In other words, the delivery guy was delivering food during this period. Just as Wang Zhong was about to rush up the stairs, he stopped halfway. Isn't going to die if I go up now? That hungry ghost's strength was not simple. Otherwise, the relevant departments would not have sealed the place in the end. So if he went up now, what was the difference between courting death? Assistant, how do I deal with that evil thing? Wang Zhong asked. Plant equipment to deal with evil things in the spiritual land. It was still a cold and emotionless voice, but Wang Zhong's heart skipped a beat. You mean other than seeds, I can plant other things in the spiritual land? Anything. The inheritance assistant emphasized. So arrogant? Wang Zhong felt that it was inconceivable. He didn't go upstairs for the time being. After returning home, Wang Zhong took out the protective talisman he had obtained from the temple. This kind of safety talisman was effective against evil beings, but its power was very weak. According to the legacy assistant, anything could grow in the spiritual land, so Wang Zhong was prepared to try it out. As soon as he thought of it, Wang Zhong ran up the mountain without caring about the dark. Grandson, where are you going? Old Master Chun, who was peeling peanuts, hurriedly asked when he saw Wang Zhong run out in the middle of the night. Grandpa, I'm going to the convenience store to buy something. Watch the road at night. All right. Wang Zhong casually responded to his grandfather's words and went to the spiritual land alone with a flashlight. This place was only 7 to 8 minutes away from home, so it wasn't too far. Without the water spirit stirring up trouble here, the atmosphere became much more peaceful. Wang Zhong planted the safety talisman. Gritting his teeth, he used his skill points to exchange for a bottle of happy potion. The happy water was contained in an ordinary jade bottle, and its volume was not large. This made Wang Zhong somewhat disappointed. He originally wanted to have more. This time, Wang Zhong planted all the safety talismans, about 40 of them. In order to test how much happy water a safety talisman needed to grow, Wang Zhong first watered the first safety talisman with a small spoonful. After 3 seconds, a paper sapling rose from the ground, revealing the length of a finger. But soon, the sapling stopped growing. Wang Zhong analyzed that a small spoonful of happy water could only make the safety talisman grow this much. Then he continued watering. After watering the entire bottle, the safety talisman finally grew. A 2-meter-tall tree with the thickness of a person stood in front of Wang Zhong. On the branches of the tree, there were talisman-like things hanging. The talisman looked the same as the safety talisman, but it was smaller and had many strange patterns on it. Wang Zhong sniffled as he felt that this was somewhat absurd. Anything that was planted in this spiritual field could be harvested? Shoes, clothes, or even a girl. Would he be able to harvest a bunch of girls? That's not right, according to the situation of this safety talisman. Planting an ordinary low-level safety talisman would yield an enhanced safety talisman. Would the girls that went down be strengthened girls? King Kong Barbie? Superwoman? Wang Zhong couldn't help but look forward to it. But this matter had to be done step by step. He estimated that the higher the level of the item, the more happy water needed to be watered. Shaking off his thoughts, Wang Zhong began to count the safety talismans he had harvested. After planting 1 safety talisman, he actually obtained 10 enhanced safety talismans. Enhanced safety talisman, a high-level exorcism tool, worn on the body. Ordinary evil creatures cannot disturb it. Thrown with extremely strong attack power. P.S. A one-time attack consumable item. After storing all the enhanced safety talismans in Shenlong's space, the number showed 10. Then, the big tree in front of him began to rot, and finally turned into a pile of mud like rotten leaves, becoming nutrients for this spiritual land. At this moment, he looked at his own data. Name Chen Anlin. Cultivation 1. Cultivated plants. Spiritual land area, 10 by 5. Owned spiritual fruits 3. Precept shop opened. Technique points, 37. Relying on planting technique points to grow is a bit slow, Wang Zhong muttered. Previously, when he did good deeds, such as helping an old granny cross the road, and helping a young girl to nurse her body, each of these good deeds earned him at least 10 technique points. But after planting a safety talisman, he gained 1 technique point. Seems like taking pleasure in helping others is the way of the king. Wang Zhong sighed softly, and ate a corn kernel for himself. In order to fully grow his strength, Wang Zhong didn't even eat rice now, and only ate corn wholeheartedly. After a day, he finally finished eating the big corn kernel with great difficulty. He threw the remaining corn stalk into the ground, and then exchanged it for 3 vegetable melon seeds. These 3 vegetable melon seeds only cost 10 technique points. And the seeds weren't big, they were long and shaped like peanuts. After digging up the soil and planting them, Wang Zhong was surprised that the vegetable melons didn't grow very quickly. This surprised Wang Zhong a little. He remembered that the first time he planted corn, it grew taller very quickly. Now that he thought about it, he guessed that it was because the corn was of a high level. This small vegetable melon was a low-level seed in the shop, so it grew slowly. If he wanted it to grow quickly, he had to use happy water. He definitely couldn't afford happy water now. Wang Zhong went home and wanted to rest. The next day was Sunday. Wang Zhong didn't eat breakfast early in the morning. After eating a few corn kernels, he carried 10 enhanced safety talismans and went to the place where the delivery guy's supernatural incident happened. Maybe it was because his cultivation level was 1, but Wang Zhong now had strength that ordinary people didn't have. Standing at the door, Wang Zhong could feel a gloomy and cold aura in the house. It was also at this time that a delivery guy came upstairs, humming a tune. When he saw Wang Zhong standing at the door, the delivery guy was stunned. "You live here, right? You ordered delivery?" Wang Zhong smiled. "Yes, give it to me." Since it happened to be delivered, it couldn't be better. He would deliver the food himself later. "That's good. In the past, you always asked me to put the food outside the door. There are a lot of wild cats around here. I was worried that the food would be eaten. Sorry to trouble you." "It's no trouble. Remember to give me a good review." The delivery guy handed the box of food to Wang Zhong and went downstairs. There were a few more deliveries to be made. Wang Zhong looked at the door in front of him seriously. This was the first time he had used the enhanced safety talisman. Wang Zhong didn't know how effective it was. But now that he thought about it, if the ordinary protective talisman was already so useful, this enhanced protective talisman should be even more effective. Hungry. So hungry. A faint sound came from inside the house. The corridor was very quiet. Wang Zhong knocked on the door. "Sir, your food is here." "It's finally here. Put it at the door." "Okay." After putting the food at the door, Wang Zhong hid behind the door. Quietly, the light in the corridor dimmed and the door opened. A black, withered hand quietly reached out from the gap in the door, wanting to take the food inside. The hand moved quickly and took the food inside. Rustling sounds came from inside. Suddenly, a wail came from inside the house. "Hungry, hungry." Wang Zhong's face lit up. It was working. When he put the food inside, he secretly put an enhanced safety talisman inside. He could see it when he opened it. The safety talisman should be working now. Crackling sounds came from inside. Wang Zhong kicked the door open. The smell of corpses filled the air. A black shadow sat in the corner, looking at the safety talisman in the lunchbox with fear. It seemed that he wanted to eat it, but was also afraid of the safety talisman inside. "I'm going to give you a bad review." The black shadow glared at Wang Zhong. It seemed that he still had the wisdom from when he was alive. He thought that Wang Zhong was a delivery guy. Wang Zhong closed the door and looked at the mission information again. The mission was to eliminate resentment. There were two options. Option 1. Kill the starving Lu Xiaoyu and obtain 100 technical points. Option 2. Eliminate Lu Xiaoyu's resentment and obtain 200 technical points. According to Wang Zhong's understanding, the reason why option 2 gave him more technical points was because it was difficult. It was easier to kill him directly. At the same time, because Lu Xiaoyu had not harmed anyone, he could be converted. Let's try to convert him first. Wang Zhong looked at Lu Xiaoyu calmly and picked up the safety talisman on the lunchbox. Do you want to eat? Lu Xiaoyu's body was full of energy. Hungry? Why are you hungry? Wang Zhong asked. Wang Zhong's question made Lu Xiaoyu recall, but he obviously did not want to use his brain. He shook his head and walked toward Wang Zhong. Hungry? Wang Zhong looked at Lu Xiaoyu quietly and walked over. He had enhanced safety talismans all over his body. He was not afraid at all. Sure enough, as soon as he got close to Lu Xiaoyu, he was scared and retreated. No, don't come over. Bang! He threw out an ordinary safety talisman, and it instantly burned in front of Lu Xiaoyu. Wang Zhong said lightly, Now tell me how you died. Maybe I can make you not hungry anymore. Really? I'm a farmer, the most honest kind. I won't lie, Wang Zhong said lightly. Chapter 674. My name is Majan. I was born in a remote mountain village. I was the first college student in the village. I was the pride of the village. Although my family was poor since I was young, I was very happy, especially when I found my wife, Malulu, not long after I started working. She was a very gentle girl. She had all kinds of good qualities. I once asked her why she liked a man like me, who came from a poor family and had an ordinary appearance. My wife, Malulu, said it was because I was considerate. Our relationship was very good. Soon, we were at the age to talk about marriage. But I was a little worried, because there's an unwritten rule in my hometown. That is, the newly married wife has to make a big scene in the bridal chamber. On the day of the bridal chamber, the husband has to be tied up and watch his wife interact with the villagers. I'm very worried that my wife will be very angry when she learns about the custom in my village. After all, I knew the personalities of the young men and uncles in the village. Every time they made a fuss, it would be very serious. After all, I knew my wife's seduction. Not only was she beautiful, but she also had a hot body, especially for this wedding night. She even prepared a faintly discernible dress. It was supposed to be with me, but I didn't expect it to go to someone else. What should I do? I wanted to refuse, but the villagers were really good to me. I couldn't bear to later. I asked my fiancé. I didn't expect her to think that since it was a custom, it should be obeyed. She was really a good girl. I was reading a novel that day. Inside the house, Lu Xiaoyu began to tell Wang Zhong about the novel that day. It sounds like a soft romance novel, Wang Zhong said. And it's about NTR. Well, I usually don't go out. I read novels and play games at home. As Lu Xiaoyu spoke, the temperature around them dropped even more. Fortunately, Wang Zhong's body had been strengthened, so he was not afraid of the cold. How did you die? After I finished reading the novel, I felt very tired, so I started playing games. Only when I play games do I not feel tired. I feel very excited. No one cares about you. My parents are dead. They left this house for me. Don't you feel hungry after playing for so long? Wang Zhong asked. Of course I'm hungry, but there's no food at home. Coincidentally, there's no internet at home, and my phone is in arrears. I don't know how to order takeout, and it's tiring to go downstairs. It's very troublesome. It turned out that he was an otaku who was just waiting to die. Wang Zhong didn't know what to say to him. So you starved yourself in the end? Yeah, I've been playing games for days. I'm so hungry. Will you be full after eating these? Wang Zhong pointed at the takeout on the ground. Lu Xiaoyu shook his head blankly. I'm still hungry, very hungry, very hungry. All right then, I'll think of a way to send you down. In the previous world, when Wang Zhong encountered evil beings, he would chant an incantation to send them down. If he encountered any that refused to go down, he would destroy them. Then he began to chant the incantation. However, what made Wang Zhong frown was that the incantation was ineffective here. This world is a little strange. Why can't I send evil beings down? Suddenly, Wang Zhong thought of something. Spiritual energy. In those worlds, spiritual energy was used to drive the incantation. However, there was no spiritual energy in this world, so the so-called incantation was useless. This is troublesome. Wang Zhong whispered. Can you help me? Lu Xiaoyu approached Wang Zhong. A cold aura began to envelop Wang Zhong. After a long time, this evil being didn't seem to be afraid of Wang Zhong's protective talisman. He felt that Wang Zhong was a good person and wanted to help him. He had a very bold idea. Compared to the lunchbox on the ground, he felt that Wang Zhong's body smelled better. Why don't you give it to me? You're a farmer, the most honest kind. You don't mind, right? Of course I don't mind, but you need to have the ability to do so. Wang Zhong took out 2 enhanced protective talismans and threw them at the other party. Ah! Lu Xiaoyu seemed to be in pain. The enhanced protective talisman was burning his body, making him unable to resist. At this time, he wanted to run away, but Wang Zhong was already close to him. Holding the protective talisman in his hand, he slapped Lu Xiaoyu's head. A hot flame burned Lu Xiaoyu's body. Lu Xiaoyu's body began to distort. With a boom sound, he turned into a pile of fire. I'm hungry, I'm hungry. Lu Xiaoyu screamed in pain and finally turned into a pile of ashes. It's more convenient to directly convert. Wang Zhong sighed. It seems that 200 technical points is really hard to earn. It's better to peacefully take 100 technical points. The commotion here wasn't small, so Wang Zhong quickly left the place. Immediately, he walked toward the small road on the east side of the village. In his past life, there were a lot of supernatural incidents around him. In one of them, an old carpenter couple was chopped into 8 pieces. In the end, the truth was that the old carpenter found a wife for his stupid son. After the university student wife cut off his stupid son's penis, the old carpenter found out and smashed her to death. A few days later, the old couple was found in their home and chopped into 8 pieces. This was definitely the work of an evil being. Solving this kind of thing once could earn him quite a lot of technical points, so Wang Zhong was very diligent in running around. He arrived in front of the old carpenter's house. It had been a long time since the old carpenter's family died, and this place was completely abandoned. However, it was said that from time to time, a girl's cry could be heard, so no one dared to come here. When he opened the door, it wasn't locked. It had been a long time since anyone entered the house. The ground was full of dust, and the wind blew in, raising the dust. Wang Zhong waved his hand to get rid of the dust, and took a bite of corn. The house was very quiet, and there was no sound of a girl crying. However, a mission notification appeared. Ding! Mission: the dismembered girl. The girl was brutally murdered and then dismembered. She wanted revenge. She wanted to dismember all men. Choice 1. Kill the girl Ma Dongmin, receive 200 technical points. Choice 2. Eliminate Ma Dongmin's resentment, receive 200 technical points. This time, the 2 choices were the same, which meant that the difficulty of these 2 choices was about the same. At the same time, the higher the technical points, it also meant that Ma Dongmin was stronger than that hungry ghost. Wang Zhong had the intention to retreat. His current cultivation was only 1, and the only life-saving method he had was the powerful protective talisman. There was no need to fight Ma Dongmin head-on. Just as he was about to retreat, the door behind him suddenly closed. Bang! The sound was very loud. But Wang Zhong didn't panic, but his whole body became vigilant. Because he knew that something was watching him. The smell of blood slowly filled the room. Chi-la, chi-la, chi-la. The ear-piercing sound of metal rubbing against each other slowly appeared in the dark corner. Chi-la. The sound was getting closer and closer. Wang Zhong could tell that the sound was coming from the bedroom. It was also the place where the old carpenter and his wife's bodies were. That was also the place where the university student Ma Dongmin died. I can't find my head. Can you help me find it? Her timid voice sounded out. causing those who heard it to involuntarily feel a sense of pity. Wang Zhong remembered that according to the news, Ma Dongmin's body was dismembered. After that, only her body was found behind the house, but her head was still nowhere to be found. Pada! A hand was placed on Wang Zhong's body. This was a broken hand. My head, I can't find it. Ma Dongmin, you have already taken your revenge. Did you not ask where the head of the person who killed you is? Wang Zhong turned his head stiffly. One must know that he had the protective talisman on him. But even so, Ma Dongmin didn't react and put her hand on his body. This meant that the protective talisman wasn't that effective on her. They are all dead. Ma Dongmin walked out from the door behind her. The headless body seemed to be looking for something, and the hand on the shoulder reached out to Wang Zhong. Help me, help me. This evil thing seemed to have recognized Wang Zhong, and its voice became louder and louder. Finally, its hand was placed on Wang Zhong's shoulder. Now both hands were on Wang Zhong's shoulders. At such a close distance, Wang Zhong could see the flesh on Ma Dongmin's neck. Okay, I will help you find it. As he spoke, Wang Zhong carried Ma Dongmin on his back. If a person carried an evil thing, they would be able to leave the place where the evil thing died. This Ma Dongmin had been wandering around nearby. I will take you around, maybe we can find it. When the old carpenter and his wife buried Ma Dongmin, they definitely didn't bury her far away. She might be nearby. Ma Dongmin's head must also be looking for her body. As long as he was close enough, he could find both. As a result, Wang Zhong spent the entire day running around outside. Finally, in a wheat field of the old carpenter's family, Wang Zhong found something wrong. As soon as he came, Ma Dongmin's body ran over, and a ball-like thing flew out and fused with her body. Wang Zhong was finally able to see clearly what was going on. Within the wheat field, a young girl was walking over gracefully. Her clothes weren't very good, and it was obvious that Ma Dongmin was a poor child when she was alive. Thank you. No need to thank me. Actually, I should thank you. You didn't do anything to me. Wang Zhong said. Before I found my head, I actually wanted to kill you, but the thing on your body purified my resentment. You mean this? Wang Zhong took out the safety talisman. Ma Dongmin nodded slightly. Wang Zhong understood. In the end, the safety talisman was still useful. Against ordinary evil things, the safety talisman could directly kill them. Against powerful evil things, although the safety talisman couldn't directly kill them, it could weaken the evil thing's resentment. This way, the evil thing wouldn't want to kill without resentment. Ding! Received 200 technical points. After receiving the reward, Wang Zhong didn't leave, because he wanted to test something. Ma Dongmin's head must be buried here. If he dug it out and buried it in the ground, maybe he could get something. Thinking of doing it, Wang Zhong asked. Ma Dongmin, where did you bury your head? My head is already rotten. Why are you looking for it? To sow seeds. Wang Zhong didn't want to lie, and there was no need to lie. Sow seeds. Wang Zhong's words were obviously beyond Ma Dongmin's understanding. I'm a farmer farming for a living. I usually like to plant some strange things, Wang Zhong said. Chapter 675. So you want to plant my head? Ma Dongmin tilted his head. His head didn't seem to be fully grown yet, and almost fell off. Fortunately, she helped him up in time. Wang Zhong nodded. Yes, you don't have to be surprised. Maybe you can really get something when the time comes. You are my benefactor. Do whatever you want. Anyway, my head is useless to me. After thinking for a while, Ma Dongmin continued. However, I want to follow you. I need to know what you want to do with my head. Then let's go together. I have a wish. When I grow up, I can sow the sun. On the way home, Wang Zhong hummed a song from the past. He didn't expect that the song from the past would come true. You can get what you sow. Ma Dongmin's head was now placed in a cloth bag. After so long, the head was almost rotten. It emitted a foul smell and maggots crawled around inside. It was very lively. When he arrived at the spiritual land, it was already late. Wang Zhong dug the ground and buried Ma Dongmin's head. Then he exchanged for a bottle of happy water. He poured the water on it. Soon a small meat sprout grew out of the ground. Yes, a small meat sprout. Wang Zhong was stunned. At the same time, he also found that something was wrong. Ma Dongmin's soul body was gone. Ma Dongmin, Ma Dongmin? He called a few times, but no one responded at all. Wang Zhong was very strange. He remembered that Ma Dongmin had been by his side. Then, when he planted the head, Ma Dongmin disappeared. The small meat sprout began to grow, and became a large meat sprout as thick as an arm. The arm began to thicken and finally stopped growing. It turned into a ball. This ball actually had facial features. Looking carefully, wasn't it Ma Dongmin? I planted a Ma Dongmin. Wang Zhong turned pale with fright. Ma Dongmin in front of him had his eyes closed. Only his head was exposed. His hair was wet and his skin was tender. His young face was like a baby's. An entire bottle of happy water was poured, but it didn't seem to be growing for long. In the end, only Ma Dongmin's head was exposed. Why is only his head exposed? Assistant, what's going on? Wang Zhong asked. The legacy assistant immediately replied, not enough nutrition. The larger the size of the plant, the more nutrition it needs. The happy water is simply not enough. Then what should we do? We need to speed up the fertilizer. Wang Zhong immediately opened the shop. It was still the same monotonous products. There was no happy fertilizer at all. My level isn't high enough, so there are still many items that haven't appeared yet? Wang Zhong guessed. He squatted down and knocked on Ma Dongmin's head. Knock, knock, knock. Ma Dongmin seemed to be sleeping. He tilted his head and snoring could be heard. Damn, he's actually sleeping. After thinking about it, Wang Zhong guessed that this was the process of a plant growing. Assistant, are we just going to let her grow up here? The assistant replied, of course not. As a qualified farmer, you have to treat the plants you've planted like your own children. She's still in her infancy and is extremely fragile. It's very easy for her to fall sick from the cold and heat. She might even be harassed by rats and wild dogs. You have to take good care of her. After being reminded, Wang Zhong felt that it made sense. Previously, he had only planted ordinary plants. The requirements for the environment might not be so high. But now it was a living person. For example, if a baby was casually left in the wild, it would definitely be bitten by wild animals, right? Therefore, Wang Zhong immediately decided to sleep here tonight. He wanted to become stronger as soon as possible, so that he could open the shop at the back and let Ma Dongmin grow up sooner. He laid down on the soft grass, ate a few corn kernels, and fell into a deep sleep. Early the next morning, Wang Zhong was woken up by rustling sounds. He turned his head and saw that Ma Dongmin had already opened her eyes. Her neck had grown a little longer. She seemed to be very curious about her surroundings. She kept turning her head. Morning was the time when all things were growing. It was the same for plants. Wang Zhong walked to Ma Dongmin's side. Ma Dongmin? He was very curious if Ma Dongmin had any memories of the past. You really planted me, Ma Dongmin said. You still remember? Yes, I followed you here last night. After you planted my head, I suddenly lost consciousness. When I woke up, it was already now. How do you feel? It feels weird. I only have my head left. Wang Zhong's eyes revealed a strange expression. Could it be that he had really planted a living person? He had a headache and regretted it. His headache was that if he had really planted a person, it would be very troublesome to identify her in the future. His regret was that not only was it troublesome, but he also needed a lot of fertilizer to let Ma Dongmin mature and grow up. This would require a lot of skill points, right? To be honest, his heart ached a little. However, at this point, he could not pull Ma Dongmin out and let her fend for herself, right? Moreover, Wang Zhong also wanted to see what Ma Dongmin would be like when she matured. Would she be a real person? Or would she become a tool? How strong would she be? Would she have any strange powers? I'm so thirsty. I want to drink water. Ma Dongmin looked at Wang Zhong expectantly. Okay, I'll get you water right away. Wang Zhong plucked a few big banana leaves from the side and covered Ma Dongmin with them. Then, he went home to get mineral water. It was just dawn, and his grandfather had not woken up yet. Wang Zhong carried a big bucket of water, a mat, and clothes and rushed to the spiritual land. He fed Ma Dongmin a few mouthfuls of water. Ma Dongmin shook her head excitedly. It's delicious. Ma Dongmin, I'm going to school. Wang Zhong sighed and said. In addition to school, he was also going to earn some skill points outside. Only then could he buy happy fertilizer. Ah, you're leaving. Ma Dongmin looked very depressed. I'm going to earn something to let you grow up faster. But don't worry, people rarely come to this place. Okay then. Ma Dongmin said sensibly. Okay. As he spoke, Wang Zhong exchanged for a bottle of happy water and watered the vegetable seedlings on the side. The last time he planted the vegetable seedlings, because there was no more happy water, they did not grow. This time, Wang Zhong wanted to see what the vegetable seedlings looked like. A bottle of happy water was watered. The watermelons in the field were growing very well, and a small green seedling had sprouted its head. Then vines appeared. On the vines, 10 slender vegetable seedlings grew out. Isn't this seedling too small? Wang Zhong muttered. This seedling was about the same size as a jumping pill. The only difference was that it was slightly curved and did not vibrate. He plucked one and took a bite. It was sweet and sour. It's delicious. At the same time, information about the vegetable seedlings appeared in front of him. After eating this thing, it had the same effect as corn. It could increase one's cultivation. Looking at Ma Dongmin, who was craving for food, Wang Zhong's heart skipped a beat. If a person can increase their cultivation so quickly after eating it, the effect should be better if I give it to Ma Dongmin, right? Ma Dongmin, do you want to eat it? Yes, I can try. Then eat it. The curved seedlings were stuffed into Ma Dongmin's mouth. Ma Dongmin chewed twice and suddenly frowned. I can't eat it. Ugh. He actually vomited it all. What's going on? Ma Dongmin shook his head slightly. I don't know. It looks delicious, but there is no taste in my mouth. I also don't have a stomach. I can't eat it. After listening to Ma Dongmin's explanation, Wang Zhong understood. It was probably because Ma Dongmin was not mature yet. It was like a baby. Of course he could not eat. On the other hand, Wang Zhong suspected that Ma Dongmin was not a real person. Looks like you can't eat. Wang Zhong looked at the vegetable seedlings on the ground and felt that it was a pity. What a waste. After finding some weeds nearby and giving Ma Dongmin a simple cover, Wang Zhong said, You can stay here. This place is relatively remote. In the past, there have been rumors of ghosts. Usually, no one comes here. Actually, I'm not afraid if someone comes. I can scare them, Ma Dongmin said playfully. Seems like it. Wang Zhong smiled. Then I'll go first. He took all the seedlings and stored them in the Sheneng space. After reaching home, Grandpa asked curiously while cooking porridge. Grandson, where did you go? I didn't see you so early in the morning. Don't forget that you have school today. Grandpa, I know. I went to the mountain to pick some wild fruits to eat in the morning, Wang Zhong said casually. Well, I just cooked breakfast. Eat. Okay. After filling the porridge, Wang Zhong quietly walked to the chicken pen and duck pen in the backyard and poured all the porridge for them. He did this because he did not want Grandpa to worry. After all, if he did not eat, Grandpa would definitely be worried. Looking at the chickens and ducks scrambling to find food, Wang Zhong pondered for a moment. Now he could be sure that living things could be planted, but the nutrients needed were very high. It was far from what ordinary crops could compare to. What about other things? For example, mobile phones, shoes, clothes, or even cultivation methods. Wang Zhong's eyes lit up. His current cultivation level was 1. His strength was too weak, so he could only rely on the strengthened safety talisman when facing enemies. This was too unsafe. However, if he had a cultivation method, he would have a strong ability to protect himself. The more Wang Zhong thought about it, the more he felt that it was possible to bring this idea to school. At noon, Wang Zhong did not go to the cafeteria to eat. While eating corn, he rode his bicycle to a wasteland in the suburbs. As he rode, he thought about a strange thing he had just seen on the city's Strange Events forum. My name is Shenjiujiu. I'm 15 years old and in junior high school. Every day I go to school, I have to pass by a cemetery. It used to be fine, but not long ago, Every time I passed by the cemetery, I felt like someone was watching me from behind. A few days ago, I was late after school. I remember that the sky got dark very quickly. I was riding my bicycle alone, and I kept feeling like someone was chasing me. I was very scared. I don't know what happened, but I fell down. Fortunately, Grandpa helped me up at that time. My grandpa smiled and said to me, "Silly child, didn't I tell you before I died to pay attention to the road when riding a bicycle?" Chapter 676. Silly child, didn't I tell you before I died to look at the road when you ride a bicycle? The hoarse voice made Shinjojio's scalp tingle. That's right. My grandfather is dead. He died of old age. Ever since I was young, my grandfather and I had the best relationship because I was brought up by my grandparents. I clearly remember that it was my grandfather who taught me how to ride a bicycle. The sentence he told me the most was to pay attention to the road when riding a bicycle. But my grandfather is clearly dead. I remember that he passed away in winter. That year, I happened to be playing at my classmate's house. When I returned home, I saw a lot of people surrounding the house. My grandfather had already passed away. My parents said that he passed away very peacefully. From the glass coffin, I saw a faint smile on his face. It was really peaceful. He passed away very honorably. They said that it was a happy funeral. My grandfather died of old age, so they should set off firecrackers to celebrate. After that, my parents buried my grandfather in the cemetery where I went to school. When I saw my grandfather appear, I panicked. I trembled and didn't dare to speak. Then my grandfather shouted behind me, "This is my granddaughter. Give me some face." Then I woke up. When I turned around, I realized that I had fallen to the ground and fainted for a few minutes. The place where I fell was right in front of my grandfather's tombstone. I quickly got up and left. When I returned home, I was very scared. After that, I had a high fever for 3 days. I just want to ask if this was a dream after I fell, or if there was really something dirty. There were many comments below. Some people said that they had encountered strange things recently. For example, one night, someone followed him from behind. He quickly ran away. However, the voice behind him kept following him. He quickened his pace and ran faster and faster. Finally, he knew why he ran so fast. Because I'm wearing Gianlibo sneakers. Gianlibo runs fast. If you want to order, add my account. I'll let you run faster than a ghost. Is the person above advertising here? Your grandfather probably saved you. Opie can go write a novel now. Let's sing the national anthem to protect the building. He tossed his thoughts to the back of his mind. After reading the post, Wang Zhong felt that it was highly credible. This was because the place that the OP mentioned was here. He made up his mind to go and take a look when he was free. However, the most important thing right now was to increase his strength. This time, Wang Zhong came to a bookstore. This was not a bookstore like Xinhua bookstore that sold learning materials, but a second-hand bookstore. It read, Midnight Study. The name of the bookstore was very artistic. There were 2 people in the bookstore. One of them was the owner. He had fair skin and was sitting leisurely on a recliner in the store. Sitting beside him was a girl with long legs. The girl's skin was even fairer, and she was tall and slender. If one looked closely, the girl's skin was so white that it was a little sickly. She was pouring tea for the shop owner. She looked very docile. Clink clink. As Wang Zhong entered the house, the wind chime at the door of the house rang. The reason why Wang Zhong chose this bookstore was because there might be what he was looking for here. Most of the books sold in this shop were second-hand books, such as martial arts novels that were popular decades ago, some out-of-print magazines, and even some ancient books. What Wang Zhong was looking for now was the secret martial arts manuals. Little brother, what do you need? The girl walked over with a smile and brushed her hair. She was very confident in her appearance. However, what surprised her was that Wang Zhong's expression did not change. Instead, he was slightly vigilant. The girl in front of him did not have any warmth on her body. It was a little strange. As for the shop owner who was lying on the recliner behind her, he did not look like a living person. However, this was just a feeling. It was an experience that Wang Zhong had gained over the years. In fact, he could not tell anything. Do you have any secret martial arts manuals? Wang Zhong asked. Secret martial arts manuals? The girl was stunned. Yes, I am a fan of martial arts novels. Recently, I have been collecting some secret martial arts manuals. Wang Zhong smiled innocently. Hehehe, you don't really think that you can practice according to the books, do you? The girl laughed and shook. Her movements were exaggerated. If it was someone else here, they would probably feast their eyes. However, Wang Zhong did not look sideways. With a serious face he said calmly, I can try. His ambiguous answer made the shop owner who was taking a nap in the room look over. Let him read a few books. They will be covered in dust in the shop anyway. Okay then. The girl took a ladder and placed it on a bookshelf in the corner. Then she climbed up. Soon, she carried down a big cardboard box. Boss, you carry it. Your wife can't carry it. Wang Zhong reminded the shop owner. As he spoke, Wang Zhong frowned slightly. It was the first time he saw a shop owner who was so arrogant. He let his wife do the work while he drank tea leisurely. No need. She can carry it. Also, she is not my wife. The shop owner took a sip of tea, looked at Wang Zhong and said, there are many books in this box that I collected in the past. You can take a look. Many of them may be the only copies. Of course, these books are not cheap. Wang Zhong nodded his head. What surprised him was that this girl, with her skinny arms and legs, was actually able to lift such a heavy box. Furthermore, her face wasn't red nor was she out of breath. It seemed like she was really strong. Pa pa pa. The girl patted the dust off her hands and pouted at Wang Zhong. You can choose. Octane Blast. That's right. The first book was Octane Blast. The book was not thick. It was only about a dozen pages. It was written in ancient Chinese. It briefly explained the creator of Octane Blast and the power after practicing it. At the back were pictures of small figures. There was no price for this book. Looking at the paper, it seemed to be from a long time ago. Wang Zhong guessed that it was a pirated copy. He guessed right. The shop owner said calmly. The books here are all pirated copies. But even so, they are not much different from the original. Wang Zhong nodded to show that he heard, and continued to choose. One sun finger. After mastering it, the finger can pierce through hard stone. Iron head technique. The head is as hard as stone, and can pierce through anything. No one can stop it, and no one can defeat it. After looking through a bunch of books, most of them did not seem very reliable. Blazing sun technique. This technique was about regulating one's qi. It was very simple to practice it. One just had to sit cross-legged under the sun, and absorb the yang energy. Once mastered, the power was limitless. The description in this book was very convincing, but Wang Zhong felt that it was just bragging. He guessed that this book was used by some unscrupulous merchants to scam people back in the days, when the people had not yet developed their knowledge. But Wang Zhong still bought it, and tried it out. There were more than 30 books here. Wang Zhong asked, Boss, how much are the books here? A total of $1,000. 1,000? Wang Zhong frowned. After all, these were pirated books. It was too expensive to buy so many. Was the shop owner trying to cheat him? Yes. The books here are all unique copies. So the price is a little expensive. The shop owner said. All right. Thinking that he was not short of money, Wang Zhong took out some money. Boss, remember to call me when you get these books in the future. After paying, Wang Zhong gave him a phone number. At this time it was raining outside. Wang Zhong braved the rain and left the place. Looking at the heavy rain outside, the female shop assistant smiled. What a strange person. Well, in this world there are more and more strange people. The shop owner stood up. But why did this strange person buy these secret books? Could it be that he wants to take them back to practice? Speaking of this, the shop owner laughed. Some people think that they can practice after gaining some strength? Childish. Isn't that so? Keep an eye out for him. Inform him when there are secret books. If he does anything bad, get rid of him. Sigh, poor young man. The female shop assistant sighed. Wang Zhong did not know that he was being schemed against. In the afternoon, he asked for leave from his teacher, and returned to the spiritual land. Half a day passed and no one came. Ma Dongmin was resting. She was breathing softly. If one looked carefully, her neck was longer. One could already vaguely see her white shoulders exposed in the ground. Seeing this, Wang Zhong's face became awkward. If it continued to grow, wouldn't he be seen naked? However, he had always been a gentleman. He was fine, but he was worried that he would be seen by passers-by. Therefore, Wang Zhong decided to buy a tent later. Ignoring Ma Dongmin, Wang Zhong took out the blazing sun technique. After burying it in the ground, he exchanged the remaining technical points for happy water. The happy water was watered. Soon, a circular paper tube grew where the blazing sun technique was buried. Soon, the paper tube grew to the length of a finger and stopped growing. No way, this happy water is not nutritious enough. Wang Zhong now wanted to obtain happy fertilizer more and more. This way these things would grow faster. Moreover, he also found that the happy water could only be used once. The second time he used it, the effect was not obvious. This was also the reason why he did not water Ma Dongmin with the happy water again. After removing the weeds around Ma Dongmin, Wang Zhong went down the mountain and bought a tent in town. After he was done, he ran back to town and continued to do good deeds. 5 days later, the corn and cucumber were finally finished. At noon, Wang Zhong was pleasantly surprised to find that his cultivation had changed. His cultivation had changed from 1 to 2. The result of this was obvious. His strength had improved tremendously. The most obvious change was that the speed of his legs going up the mountain had at least doubled. Secondly, his strength. In the past, his punch would make a sound as it pierced through the air. But now, he could smash a brick with a single punch without feeling any pain in his hand. What surprised Wang Zhong the most was that his hearing and eyesight had become much sharper. For example, he could now see things that ordinary people could not see very clearly. Ding! Mission: the girl in the alley. There is a girl in the alley. She is unwilling to leave. Please persuade her to leave. Reward: 100 technical points. In the evening, Wang Zhong passed by the alley. What he saw was a girl in a wine-red spaghetti-strap dress staring blankly at Wang Zhong. There was a big hole in her head and blood was flowing out. Chapter 677. The reward for technique wasn't much, which meant that this girl wasn't very strong. Wang Zhong felt relieved and walked towards the alley. Looking at the girl's appearance before she died, she should have been smashed to death. Something was wrong. This girl's body seemed to have been folded in half. Her head was bent at a 90-degree angle, and her waist was bent backwards. It took a lot of effort to raise her head. Her arms and legs also seemed to have been pieced together by someone. Every time she moved, there would be a creaking sound. Hello, I think we can be friends. Wang Zhong explained his intention in a friendly manner. He gave this pitiful girl enough respect. You creak, okay? I can't find me. Wang Zhong struggled to understand her words, but Wang Zhong could vaguely understand some of it. The reason he came here was because he heard about a strange incident that happened nearby. A girl called Ning Qiao had mysteriously disappeared during a night shift. Ning Qiao's job was a nightclub dancer. She had a pretty face and a good figure. Every day, she would get off work after 12. But a week ago, Ning Qiao's roommate discovered that she didn't return home. After that, the police conducted a large-scale search, but found nothing. Wang Zhong knew about this, so he followed Ning Qiao's route to get off work and searched. Finally, he found something wrong in this alley. The resentment here was overwhelming. He couldn't see the girl's face clearly, but from her clothes, it was undoubtedly Ning Qiao. When she got off work that day, she was wearing a wine-red halter dress. Can't find you? Think carefully. Wang Zhong approached Ning Qiao. Ning Qiao's black pupils looked straight at Wang Zhong. She wanted to get closer, but the protective talisman on Wang Zhong's body made her afraid. You died here, right? Don't be afraid, I can help you. Wang Zhong's words were comforting. He walked over and took Ning Qiao into his arms. Wang Zhong's guess was right. When the protective talisman didn't attack, it could give evil beings a sense of security. Pada! Perhaps Wang Zhong used too much force. Ning Qiao's eyeballs accidentally fell to the ground. Don't be so careless in the future. It won't be easy to find if you drop it. Wang Zhong's character was absolutely good. He picked up the eyeball for her considerately. Come, I'll put it on for you. Thank you. What happened to your tongue? Only then did Wang Zhong notice that Ning Qiao's tongue had been cut off by someone. As the saying goes, a dead man without a tongue will be bullied even if he becomes a ghost. It meant that evil beings without tongues were unable to absorb resentment well. Ghosts were usually very weak and easily bullied by others. No wonder you're still so weak, even after being tortured to such a state. You have so much resentment. For the first time, Wang Zhong had a feeling of why are you so pitiful towards an evil creature. Thinking of this, Wang Zhong's eyes flashed coldly. Did the person who killed Ning Qiao cut her tongue on purpose? Or was it unintentional? If it was intentional, it could only be said that this person was too dangerous. Leaning on Wang Zhong gave Ning Qiao a great sense of security. Then, she turned her head and looked at the pile of garbage behind her. Wang Zhong noticed that something was wrong. There was a big pile of garbage there, and the stench was overwhelming. It was mixed with a rotten smell. Just stay there. Don't worry. I'll go over and take a look for you. He found a wooden stick and picked up a big pile of garbage. There was a box below. To be specific, it was a suitcase. It was a big suitcase, a little old, and locked with a big lock. There were traces of blood at the bottom. Don't be afraid, I'll help you. After comforting the pitiful little girl, Wang Zhong walked over to her. With a flick of his finger, the big lock was easily removed. The smell was even stronger, and there were maggots faintly falling down. I found you. Wang Zhong sighed. I'll call the police for you. Wang Zhong was not a saint. The mission this time was not to help her take revenge, but to take her away. Since the body was found and could be taken away, it was time to call the police. But before calling the police, Wang Zhong asked, How did you die? Can you tell me in detail? Although he did not plan to get involved, this girl died so miserably, and the nature of the murderer was too bad. So, he needed to know some clues, so that he could provide it to the police. Ning Qiao raised her eyes slightly, and her blood-red eyes rolled. She murmured, Chef. Fatty. She looked at a big iron door on the side of the alley. Following her gaze, Wang Zhong looked behind him. There was a rusty billboard that said, Ping An Restaurant. Behind the iron door was the restaurant's kitchen. The person who killed you was the chef. Ning Qiao nodded slightly. Her thoughts were pulled into the depths of her memory. That day, she got off work as usual. She was a dancer, and every day she got off work at 12 o'clock sharp. She dressed very beautifully, but she was definitely not revealing. Many people thought that the girl who worked in the nightclub was not serious. In fact, that was not the case. Ning Qiao was a girl from the countryside. She did not come from a good family. Her parents died early, and she was adopted by her second uncle. She was bullied when she was young, and in the end, she ran away from home. In order to make a living, she traveled far and wide, and finally came here to be a dancer. She learned how to dance, and her dream was to be a serious dancer. Then, she would save some money and open a dance studio. That night, she walked alone on the night road. When she passed by Ping An Restaurant, she felt a little hungry, so she went in to eat a bowl of fried noodles. After coming out, she walked alone in the alley. She had walked this road many times, and never had any problems. But tonight, she felt that someone was following her. Abruptly, she turned around and saw a fat chef who was drooling and walking towards her. The chef smiled and said, I'm taking out the trash. Ning Qiao was very scared because she felt that the chef was up to no good. Why would a person who took out the trash have a big kitchen knife in his hand? Pucci, walking in front of her, the chef raised the knife and cut open her head. This was also the reason why when Wang Zhong saw her for the first time, he found that her head was bleeding. In other words, the chef wanted to kill you for no reason? Wang Zhong's face darkened. At first, he thought that someone was lusting after Ning Qiao's body, but now, it seemed that the culprit's goal was not that. Ning Qiao nodded slightly in response to Wang Zhong's words. Don't worry, I'll call the police right away. Wang Zhong was about to make the call, but at that moment, the kitchen door opened. A person with a face full of pimples, a cigarette in his mouth, and wearing a white chef's uniform walked out. He was holding a black trash bag in his hand. When he saw Wang Zhong, he smiled and said, "Throw out the trash, throw out the trash." Wang Zhong's pupils constricted because he noticed a shiny kitchen knife at the chef's waist. This kitchen knife was surrounded by resentment, and pitch-black human heads seemed to be screaming on it. It was obvious that this knife had chopped off many people's heads. What a coincidence, I'm also throwing out the trash. Wang Zhong smiled. He did not run away, because he knew that he was being watched. Together, a simple and honest smile appeared on the chef's face, as his saliva dripped all over the floor. At this moment, he noticed the luggage by Wang Zhong's feet. Looking at Wang Zhong in astonishment, he asked, "You opened it?" "Yes, there is a person inside." "Did you do it?" "Haha, I did it. She is a good girl, so I chopped her head." "Why?" Wang Zhong asked calmly. "She is clearly a good girl." "I don't understand." "Because my mother likes good children. She always talks about how good other children are. I hate it. So I hate good children." Slowly, the chef pulled out the large kitchen knife on his body. Awakened, sensing the extraordinariness of the kitchen knife, Wang Zhong guessed the chef's identity. To be able to control this large kitchen knife, he was certainly not an ordinary person. Thus he must be an awakened. "Look at how angry you are. You must be a good child." Wang Zhong did not reply. Instead, he tossed the safety talisman in his hand over. The chef easily flung the safety talisman away. "What the hell is this? It didn't work." It seems that the chef is really a living person. That's why it didn't work. The chef strode over, smiled and said, "You can also turn into garbage. I will deal with both of you later." Bang! The wooden stick in Wang Zhong's hand directly hit the chef's head. Wang Zhong did not hesitate in the slightest as he made his move. He wanted to see how powerful this chef is. If he is too strong, then he can only leave. The chef's head tilted. A painful expression flashed across his face. Obviously, Wang Zhong's strength hurt him. But at the same time, the wooden stick also shattered. "You have some strength." The chef slashed at Wang Zhong. Wang Zhong stepped back, dodging the kitchen knife. He calculated the gains and losses of continuing the fight. From the previous blow, he can see that his strength can hurt this chef. So it seems that he has the strength to fight. Just as he was about to continue, a pair of policemen suddenly rushed in from both sides of the alley. "Don't move." Several guns were pointed at the chef. "Zhang Lizzie, you are surrounded. Put down the knife." The police came. He can escape unscathed. Wang Zhong quietly stepped back. Behind him, Ning Qiao shivered and hid behind Wang Zhong. Her eyes were fixed on the kitchen knife in the chef's hand. She died because of this knife. She has a natural fear of this knife. "Police comrade, I found a body here. This guy came out to chop me. Help." Wang Zhong leaned against the wall in fear, leaving the police room to shoot. "Zhang Lizzie, we have investigated your case. Your boss and his family of 3 are all missing. Your mother was thrown into a suitcase and thrown into the garbage dump. Please cooperate with the investigation. Put down the kitchen knife. Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite." The one who shouted was a middle-aged policeman. He had thick eyebrows and big eyes. He was full of righteousness. If the criminals saw her like this, they would probably be scared out of their wits. Zhang Lizzie frowned. He seemed to realize that although he was strong and not an ordinary person, he was not made of steel. His body couldn't withstand bullets. But he didn't want to surrender. He knew what kind of crime he had committed. Suddenly, he looked at Wang Zhong. He wanted to take him hostage. With swift movements, he rushed towards Wang Zhong. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.